biblically.
Oh. Ignore that. That was a random YouTube video I was trying to close.
Join me, and together we can end this destructive conflict and rule the galaxy as fanboy and son. No, I'll never. Join me and together we can end this destructive conflict and rule the galaxy as fanboy and son. No, I'll never.
Might have to turn those alerts off when I get started because they're loud. Thank you for the hype train. Thank you for the hype train. I'm gonna switch to my... In theory, this is my soft microphone. No, this is just still the regular microphone. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We're not in the ASMR yet. We're trying. We're doing it. Hey everybody, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time it is for you. I saw a good morning. It's not morning. Not morning. It's morning for some of us. Good afternoon. Hi everybody. Today we're trying to keep the energy calm and peaceful today. I know sometimes my streams are not calm, peaceful energy, but sometimes we're trying to keep the energy calm and peaceful. Mornings wherever you get up. I got up at a reasonable time today. I had my piano lesson this morning, so I had to get up. Had a donut. Pretty good morning. Coffee. How's your morning been? Welcome to the stream. This is my regular mic. I have a quiet mic that I will swap to when I swap screens. And I'll probably turn the music down, but I got some very chill. You know, often I'm loud on these streams. I'm trying to be quieter so we can have a peaceful, romantic Valentine's Day. I had thought, so good morning, greetings everybody. Welcome to the chat. Welcome Blurp. Welcome K-Spice. Welcome Chop. Thank you for the subs this morning. We got a little hype train going, so that is great. Thank you so much for the subs today. I'm always happy and love everybody. And we're gonna have some love. We're gonna have some good vibes. Don't have depression. We're gonna have some good vibes today. We're gonna have some peaceful, happy, hopefully happy vibes today. This isn't gonna be a marathon stream or anything. It's just gonna be some to brighten your day. Give you like a relaxing afternoon. We're going to be doing a little reading. Last time we read a book on this stream, we read Deliberately Bad Things. They were not reading something that I think is bad, although I also have not actually read this particular book, so that's kind of exciting. This is going to be a new experience for all of us. I've read books like that. I'll tell you guys all about this. We're going to read a classic Choose Your Own Adventure book today. I've wanted to do a Choose Your Own Adventure book stream for a while, because I have many of them, and they're also not as dead of a genre as you think. Last year when I went to the Narrowscope conference and talked to some of the interactive fiction folks about what they were working on, learned a little bit about the still existing Choose Your Own Adventure scene. People are still making Choose Your Own Adventure game out in the wild. And should I put my quiet mic on in case I get quiet? Let me swap mics real quick. It's not a different microphone, it's just a different filter on the mic. Alright, this is the one that picks up all the quiet noises. So if I'm quiet, you should be able to hear me on this one. How's that sound? Swap to my other mic settings. I'm getting better at mic settings. I have a lot of... How come I have so many mic settings in here? It feels like I have multiple different... Maybe because I have the Okay, well, we'll figure it out as we go. And let's disable the alerts. It'd be very scary if I don't want you guys to waste money on alerts today if it's gonna be loud. If people are gonna be horse dancing. Making that difficult. Alright, hang on. Don't push any buttons. We still have first. First is fine. We just don't need the extremely loud and correct buzzer ruining everybody's afternoon. Don't worry, we'll put them back. It would just be very disruptive to have that happen. We do still have hydrate. I do still have water. Oh, like I didn't get rid of DeVito. Not that I don't love DeVito. Just trying to not. Wait, what's this? What's this? Is this extra? What's this? Watch for... Oh, how to earn. Okay, how to earn. Okay. I was like, what am I clicking on? Okay. Just for earning. Just for sitting in the audience. You earn points that can be spent. Do we... Do we like the video game piano music? Let me start it back over. I don't want to make it too loud. Got so much chill Zelda music going on here. Oh, this is... I gotta let... That's synthwave, though. I don't want synthwave. Music is nice. We'll leave it on. This is gonna be a vibes. Gonna be a vibes thing. So on Thursday, I finished Sorry We're Closed. If you didn't get the opportunity to watch that VOD is up on YouTube and remains on Twitch as well until Twitch deletes it, so it's be a while. I enjoyed that game a lot. I think it was a good 5-hour stream. Had some fun with that. This week on the stream, I am also celebrating the Lunar New Year of the Horse. So we're going to do we're playing some horse games. I might do a very short horse game stream the following Saturday. I haven't decided, but I probably will. I'll probably do a short one. Something horse game related. And then we're going to do a movie night. We're going to watch Last Unicorn, which is a fantastic film. Highly... It's not, you know, if you've never seen it, it's not like really a girly movie. I noticed last night that Crimson Ruse was also doing a watch along of The Last Unicorn. Yeah, I noticed that last night. Yeah. I was browsing. I was watching Miki do Battletoads, and I noticed that the Last Unicorn was also happening. So I was like, oh man, I gotta watch that along with him. Maybe I'll just hold on to that VOD and do like an asynchronous and see what his comments on it were. But yeah, I didn't know that was happening, or I would have scheduled my movie night at a different time. But if you haven't seen the film, we're gonna watch it in a couple weeks because it's the year of the horse, and I want to watch some horse stuff. Maybe My Little Pony if I can get a good rip of it. What I'd really like to watch though is not necessarily the My Little Pony the movie that was in theaters, but the specials, the 2 specials that aired in the evening, like in the early 80s. There's like a really cute, like, you know the one I'm talking about? Where they fight the centaur guy? It's really cool. That one's really good. Yeah, I want to watch that. So I want to dig that up somewhere. I bet you the internet has those things. Did you guys see that Tubi just added a bunch of cartoons? Like a ton. They're adding Powerpuff Girls and all the old Teen Titans and like all the old Looney Tunes are getting at it. The Quick Draw McGraw's getting at it. A whole bunch of random shit. So today's main event. I'm going to take you back to the year 1983. Dive into this here. I'm going to give you guys a little background about what this is and why it's on my screen right now. This, in And eventually I'm going to do a video essay about this because this is so random and hidden away and something that very few people talk about or know about. So it's kind of sneaky that this is my Valentine's Day thing. I had a long list of to-do stream ideas. Like, what kind of stream ideas have I not done yet? And I haven't done Choose Your Own Adventure. And very specifically, I haven't done Choose Your Own Romance Adventure. I'm going to talk a little bit about these books. Found out about these. I didn't know about these when they came out, but I did find out about these, a while ago. They are officially licensed Dungeons and Dragons TSR products from the year 1983 and 4. And they were designed with one goal in mind, which is, and you won't, maybe you believe this, because I'm going to tell you about this, but it seems crazy to think about this. But back in the day, back in the 80s, right? Dungeons and Dragons, they were trying to make it more popular, just like we do today. Today, when they try to make Dungeons and Dragons popular, they give it to a bunch of celebrities to play on their YouTube channels, and advertise it that way. And the game has drifted quite a bit from how it used to be played. But they still were trying to sell copies of these in the early 80s. This is around the time that like Stranger Things would theoretically be set, right? Maybe that one kind of moves into the late 80s and into the 90s a little bit. I have a whole Stranger Things rant that I'm going to do as a video essay at some point because of how they don't really get D&D right in Stranger Things. They don't really get D&D right. Somebody who, has played a lot of D&D. They use it as a pastiche, but they make a lot of annoying errors that piss me off. And every time I watch it, I'm like, that's not right. But they did have a push in the early 80s to ask themselves, would girls, yeah, not even women, but little girls, would teenage girls, 12, 13-year-old girls, have any interest in tactical studies rules, Dungeons and Dragons products for girls, D&D for girls, right? And one of the cool ideas they came up with was to add a little romance to Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm not kidding. That's the point of these books. And so they wrote a series of books called the Heart Quest books. And these were designed to create romantic D&D adventures targeting preteen and teenage girls. Now, when I say targeting preteen, today we make a lot of Happy Valentine's Day, Freya. Today we're doing ASMR, so we're keeping it quiet. We're keeping it quiet piano, quiet vibes, but we're going to have it's a little educational. It's an educational content today. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you and yours. Gonna eat some candy later. And, some noodles or something, But maybe make a nice cocktail. Oh, yeah. So I was talking about this book. There's a couple different authors that have worked on these. They aren't all written by the same person, but they're all in the same format, which is that they are choose your own adventure books. Now, choose your own adventure was a big thing in the 80s. They had a lot of choose your own adventure books, and these read just like the CYOA that you might be comfortable with, might be used to, where it tells you what page to turn to, and then we will turn to that page whenever we decide to make a decision in the story. I haven't done CYOA, but I've got a chat here. So unless the decision is very contentious, in which case we'll put up a poll. But for the most part, I'll just rely on you guys in chat to let me know what decisions we're going to make. And if you don't have any thoughts about it, if you have no idea, then I'll just make a decision and we'll just kind of keep on reading the story. But when I say that these are geared toward teenagers and young adults, they are YA grade romance. There is no explicit or pornographic content in these. They're very, very tame. So you don't have to worry about this being like a breaking toss thing. And in fact, we're not We don't even have the stream set to mature today, because I think today is going to be actually very safe for work, kid-friendly kind of content. But there will be a little bit, a little bit of romance, a little bit of flirting, a little bit of smooching, that kind of thing in these stories. Now, one thing that I also find interesting about the HeartQuest books is that you might be familiar with the work of Larry Elmore. He's one of the premier D&D artists of the 80s and 90s. And these are some of his early work is in these. If you happen to have the physical copies of the book, which I do, but this is just a PDF, I do have physical copies of, I don't have a physical copy of this book. I have a physical copy of the other ones. I'm missing one and I think 5. I'll have to remind myself which one I'm missing. I'm missing a couple of them. I do have physical copies of them, which in my video essay, I will show the physical copy that I have, but this is a PDF just to make it easier for the screen. But I don't have a copy of this book, so if anybody knows where I could get a copy of this one, I'd probably find it somewhere. I don't know. But this one has a very early Larry Elmore artwork, and you might be more familiar with his work from like the Dragonlance books, right? The Dragonlance books, they have this Larry Elmore artwork, but it's truly, really actually authentic D&D artwork. What I was saying is that the way these books are printed is that this is a window here. So it's like the cover has like a little hole in it, and then when you open it, you get the full-size art without any printing on it, which I think is actually like so nice. I love that the art doesn't have anything, like if you get like one of the old Dragonlance books, they're set up so you can see like the logo and stuff on them. But this one, it shows you the couple here, and it's got this like dragon frame, but this is a window. So when you open up the book, then you see the full picture of the, what's going on in this image. A little bit, she's casted a spell. And I will say that each of these books is designed around a particular D&D class to introduce girls to the different classes that you can play in D&D. I'm guessing this girl is a wizard. Or I feel like the Veronic Jewels are like a psionic. We'll find out what her class is. This was actually the first book series to have the sorcerer class. The sorcerer class was introduced in HeartQuest. It was not introduced in D&D until 2000. It is in HeartQuest in 1983. So that's a strange fun fact that was never actually properly introduced to the game, but it was actually invented for girls. It's a class for girls. So now you know. I'm gonna do a longer video about about that at some point. We're gonna read the other book, which is called Secret Sorceress. But it is the reason they invented that. They invented the sorceress class. Was because that way they could have a character that had like innate magic powers but didn't know, so it would make for like a more fun like romance story for her to like discover her powers. And it's really interesting. It's super interesting historically. And I will also say that the book for cleric, it does not exist, and never made it to print. And the reason that book never made it to print is because they changed it and made it Dragonlance. So that's also it became Dragonlance. So that's also interesting historically. So the cleric book that I don't have, that doesn't exist. It's actually the 0th of these books. So I don't know what the story is behind this one. But we're gonna find out. But together, and they do look like Iron Stones. Yeah, I will say that when I do like an Iron Stone in game, I really like this way of depicting it, like close to the head like this, because I think the actual rules for Iron Stone is that you let it go and then it spawns 1 to 3 feet from your head. And what's all the way out here? Like, is it like your deer automata robot? Like, I like this type formation a lot better, I think. 1d3 feet, yeah, 1d3 feet. So it could be like all the way out here, right? What if I can't reach it? My arms are too short. I let it go and then it flies all the way up here. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. All right, so let's get started with the story. And if you guys want, we're going to start with a little intro to the story. And then as we go, we make decisions. Can you all read the screen? I don't know if I have to zoom in. I think I'm good. I think I'm good on the zoom. It's kind of strange because half the screen is white space. I did. I commented on it too. I left a little comment for you. Encircling your. Oh, by the way, you're a girl in this, so just so you know. Yeah, I want to fit the whole page on the screen. Okay. Let me scoot me over a little bit, actually. Do I have this thing? I have a little blanket because I'm cozy today. Okay, yeah, it's cozy. Okay. Making sure that it's not like dust. Sometimes with these like little add-ons, they get stuck on your jiggle physics and then they slide all over the place. It'd be funny if two people with 3-foot ironstones walked by each other. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think 3 feet is so awkward. 3 feet is awkward. This is you may not like it, but this is what the ideal ironstone distance looks like. Right next to your skull. That way it looks cool, as opposed to, I don't know, it's out in space. I think I can kind of understand the stone thing. Like, if it was like a near, like your robot, and it's like we're circling you here, or like Soul Blazer. You know, he has the thing that circles his head in Soul Blazer. That's like a foot away from his head, right? I mean, I can see it, but I think this is good. This is so elegant. It looks good. All right, we're gonna read the book now. And just, you know, to remind yourself, you have to put yourself in the mindset of you're a 13-year-old girl on an adventure. Okay, I'm not saying it to be weird. I'm saying that this is like designed for preteens. The characters are probably going to be like 16 or 17 in these. They're good. They're not. There's no sex at these. These are really PG. But they do have lines like this. Encircling your waist with his strong hands, Torbeck draws you closer and closer, his intention clearly to kiss you. Your heart beats wildly in anticipation. Should I let him kiss me, you think? His rugged good looks charm you irresistibly. Stop it, Chandel, you chide yourself. I haven't time for this nonsense, not while my father has yet to be rescued from wherever took him away. But here, in this lovely glade, Torbeck's closeness excites you in a way you've never before experienced, and drives logical thought from your mind. Are you both spellbound by the enchanting powers of a malevolent being in this seamlessly harmless forest? Or is what you feel real? You must make a decision. Will you free yourself from Torbeck's arms and hope for another opportunity in the future when you are certain of no mystic intervention? If you avoid kissing him, turn to page 78. If you decide that a kiss could do no harm, turn to page 94. Whatever path you pick, you are sure to find romance and adventure as you discover the Ring of the Ruby Dragon. I gotta say, we're starting off kind of spicy here. I mean, a mystical enchantment compelling me to kiss Who is Torbeck? Is Torbeck a guy? Does he show up in other things? I feel like he does. I feel like he does. I feel like that name's been used before. That's a name I've used. That's a name I've seen. A bugbear? No. A bugbear? That's a bugbear? This is not a bugbear. No. No. No way. Not in this. Okay, let's go. These are the ones. There's actually 6 books. There's Ring of the Ruby Dragon, A Talisman of Veldegard, Secret Sorceress, which is the sorceress one, Isle of Illusion. I think that might be the other one I don't have. I think it might be this one that I don't have. Chapter 4, because I do have 5 and 6. I have 5 and 6. 5 is actually the fighter one too. It's interesting. Cover art by Elmore. Just Elmore. Don't worry about it. That's just Elmore. Larry, no, just Elmore. Hey, Metalord, I think we've given you all we can. You got it. You got it. Just be yourself. I don't know. Did you plan anything? Did you plan anything? This book is for the real Chandel. I don't know who that is. I would love to know more. I want to know more about who the real Chandel is. 1983. Yeah, definitely. A rom-com is a good pick. Movie's a good pick. You should watch Northern Lions rant about date movies. Let's see what your girlfriend thinks about the Northern Lion rant about date movies. I won't say girlfriend, it's too soon to say that, but see what your date says about that. Is your date on board with awkward movies, or is your date like stick to non-awkward movies? It's a good rant. It is. Okay. I mean, it's a good opportunity to share your taste in anime with your date, you know? The movie title? I don't know. I said just watch his rant. It's just a rant. It's not a movie. It's just his rant about movies. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to share your favorite taste, right? Like show off your personality a little bit. Yeah. The reason I mentioned it is because he has this complaint where he's like, people are afraid to watch challenging movies or horror movies during dates, but like historically horror movies are really good for dates. Like horror movies and dates go hand in hand. If your date likes horror now, that's something you got to feel out, you know. So I think a rom-com is a pretty safe pick for a first date. A pretty safe pick, pretty middle down the road pick, and then, you know, kind of figure out what their taste is like and see if they are more compatible with something, you know, more horror or something like that. Because the reason that historically that people used to do horror movies is because like maybe the girl is like gets closer to you because she's scared, right? That's the thought anyway. But on Discord you don't have that, so it's a little bit of a different vibe. Yeah, I think a rom-com is a good pick. I think that's a good idea. You are about to set off on a romantic adventure in which you will face many decisions. Some choices you will determine with your head, others with your heart. Each choice takes you on a different path to a separate ending. So be careful. You must choose wisely. Do not read this book from beginning to end. Instead, as you are faced with a decision, follow the instructions and keep turning to the pages to which your choices lead you until you come to an end. You may meet a handsome adventurer or chance upon self-discovery. Success or disaster, the choice that leads you there is yours. Oh, I clicked too far. It's right at the beginning. Oh no, it actually really starts. This is the beginning of the book. Okay, I'm surprised. It's kind of in medias res. You laugh with delight as the centaur nears your wagon. You don't often get to see centaurs because they rarely come near humans. So you find the creature with a human's head and torso on a sleek horse's body quite fascinating to see. Look, father, you exclaim. It's coming to see us. But your delight upon seeing the centaur turns to dismay as the centaur's human hands begin swinging a heavy oaken club at your horse. Father, you exclaim, centaurs aren't supposed to be vicious. Why is it coming after us? Hold on tightly, Chandel, your father says. Let's get away from it. You clutch the side of the wagon as your father orders the horse, Dawdle, to pick up the pace. That horse is called Dawdle. It's not a fast horse. I'm telling that doesn't sound like a fast horse name. To pick up the pace and outrun the malevolent centaur. A shadow falls across your face, and you look up to see two winged lions flying toward you. They look as if they're going to land on the centaur's back. Maybe they're going to help you. But again, something is wrong. The winged lions, known to be good and friendly creatures, are helping the centaur. Together they drag on the traces and try to force your horse to a halt. Standing, you brace yourself against the swaying and rushing of the wagon and prepare to leap to the back of the nearest winged lion, hoping to direct it away from your father and the wagon. But as you jump, the creature moves to the side abruptly, and you hit the ground. The breath explodes from your body as you land amid Dawdle's flying hooves. One hoof strikes your head, and you are conscious of nothing else. I love to begin all my romantic stories by getting kicked in the head with by a horse. Is that not what love is like? Is love like being kicked in the head by a horse? Is that a romantic situation to find yourself in? When you open your eyes, you feel a pain shooting through your head. and remember the horse's hooves. You flinch as you expect another hoof to strike, but then you realize you are alone. The centaur is gone. The lions have flown away. Your father is gone too. Father? You whisper, alarmed at the silence surrounding you. Then you rise and see your wagon nearby. Surprisingly, Dottle stands next to it, quietly munching the grass as though nothing unusual has happened. You hurry to the wagon, expecting to see your father lying in it hurt. But the wagon is empty. Moving out from the wagon in ever-widening circles, you look for signs of your father's fate, but find nothing. No blood, no weapons, no evidence of scuffling, nothing but animal tracks. He must have been carried away by the flying lions. Returning forlornly to the wagon, you sink down on the seat, absently brushing the leaves from your fur-trimmed coat. What have they done with father, you think, your body trembling in fear? You fear more alone than you've ever thought possible. You have been working as your father's apprentice for 5 years, ever since your mother died when you were 10 years old. Even though you travel all across the land to make jewel and golden items for the lords and ladies, you've never felt in danger. But now, Father, you shout, overcome by an unaccustomed feeling of panic. You turn and shout in all directions, Father! But the only sounds that meet your ears are the clink and squeak of the leather traces as Dottle stirs. Suddenly, you remember your father's collection of valuable gems. Did the beast take them, you wonder? The children yearn for jewel crafting. The children yearn for... They want to mine and they want to craft. Quickly, you raise the wagon seat and explore the box beneath it. But even as you sort through the things inside, you know in your heart that the matched set of emeralds, the set your father worked so hard to acquire for Lord Darkel, is gone. Give me a second there. Lord Darkel? He seems like a good guy. He seems like a good chap. Your heart sinks. Reluctant to give up hope, you move aside some clothing in the bottom of the box. A small leather pouch catches your eye. Maybe they didn't get everything. Lowering the wagon seat, you quickly sit and open the pouch in your lap. Out tumbles a set of strange stones. Certainly not the finely polished gems your father mounts for the aristocracy. These seemingly ordinary stones must have been overlooked by the plundering beasts. As you start to inspect them, they begin to move. One by one, the stones drift out of your hand and up into the air, where they form a ring around your head near the golden circlet that holds your long auburn hair in place. Oh, we're right at the iron stones. We're right at the flying stones. How curious. Immediately, the flying stones. As you note the stones' vivid colors, pale blue, scarlet, banded pink and green, lavender, a beautiful dusty rose, and even a vibrant purple. A faint memory leaps into your mind, a memory of playing with these stones when you were a child. You had tossed them from hand to hand and laughed with delight when they formed the ring. But when your father came into the room, he hurriedly plucked the stones out of the air, scooped them into the bag, and shoved the bag into his pocket. These aren't toys, he had said. Then he sat next to you, placing an arm around your shoulder, and explained that they were iron stones, wonderful stones of magical protection. Each provided a different aid. More power to a strong arm, greater perception, greater dexterity, increased ability to survive without food or water. The lustrous pearl had the power to heal, and the lavender stones could remove magical spells surrounding a victim by absorbing them. This is pretty OP for my level 1 kit. I have 6 iron stones. My love that's so... Oh, is it 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. 7 iron stones. I think we're starting out with the fucking chaos emeralds up in this bitch. That's crazy. Now you remember clearly. Your father had taken one of the stones from the bag, the deep purple one, and said in a voice hushed by awe, "This stone was prepared by a great wizard for a special journey into strange and dangerous lands. It contains magical spells to protect him on the journey." "Are the spells still in there?" you asked. "Yes, the wizard never used the stone," he replied. "But Papa, what does the stone do?" you asked, astonished that such a small stone could hold so much power. He replied thoughtfully, I know some of the spells you put into the stone, my little one, but not all. Perhaps it's better not to ask. Now let's put the pretty stones away. And he gave you a hug. Remembering, you picked the stones out of the air and returned them to their pouch, pondering what to do. Not long before the attack, your father had said that soon you would reach the next town on your journey to Lord Darkle's to make the special emerald jewelry. Maybe you can get help there, someone who will help you find your father. Oh, Father, will I ever see you again? Tears roll down your eyes and start to roll down your cheeks. Well, in your eyes. Your horse stirs, and you look up to see, coming toward you in the woods, a knight, clad in chainmail armor and leather, and mounted on a magnificent cinnamon-colored horse. You quickly brush the tears from your face and try to straighten your clothing. As he rides toward your wagon, he notices you watching him and sits straighter on his horse. Stopping in front of you, the knight smiles and bows from the waist. Good day, milady. You smile gratefully at the milady, more used to hearing young lass or even little girl. Hello, you say in return, immediately captivated by the bright personality and dark features of this handsome young knight. How do you do? He says, smiling. Then he notices the tears you fared to wipe away, and his brow furrows with concern. Are you a maiden in distress? He asks, and quickly dismounts. Well, I guess I am, you say, reminded of your present plight. What happened? I was traveling with my father when a centaur and 2 winged lions charged our wagon, trying to gain control of our horse, you say, pointing to Doddle. When I tried to stop them, I fell from the wagon and was knocked out for a while. Are you all right? He asks quickly. Oh, yes, you assure him. But when I woke up, father was gone, and so were all the jewels. Jewels? My father makes fine jewelry. Lord Darkle has entrusted us with obtaining and mounting 2 rare and exceptionally beautiful emeralds. I serve as my father's assistant, you say proudly. Oh, what shall I do? You cry, thinking of your losses. I suppose I must continue to town and try to find help. In AD&D, pale blue is +1 strength, scarlet is +1 int, pink and green is +1 charisma, lavender absorbs spells up to 4th level, dusty rose is +1 protection, and purple stores 2d6 levels of spells. That is incredible. That is exactly the rules as explained, and in fact, she even went into each provides a different aid and talked about what they do. Arm, greater protection, greater dexterity, increased ability. Yeah, wow, that's pretty cool. That's greater perception would be the int, the plus int, perhaps. And lavender shows remove magical spells surrounding a victim. All right. I'm a knight, says the young man in armor, stating the obvious. I would be honored to come to your aid, fair... what is your name? Chandel, you offer, smiling at his uncertainty. Chandel, he repeats slowly, as if savoring the sound. How beautiful. Thank you, you say, pleased with his compliment. And who are you? I am Corin. Sir Corin. Oh, this is not the same guy that was in the intro. Are there 2 handsome lads in this story? Well, he blushes and lifts his chin proudly. I've just finished my training and been knighted. Bilkin here, he pats his horse, trained with me. Congratulations, you exclaim, your image of this knight altering slightly. How exciting for you. Are you on a quest? I will be when I can find one. But in the meantime, I would be very happy to help you. Your heart leaps at the thought of traveling with this attractive young man, but you hesitate. Would a novice knight be a help or a hindrance in my search for father, you ask yourself. You look at him carefully and notice that the sword at his side shines brightly. Has it ever been used, you wonder? And then, afraid that the answer is no, you say, Thank you for offering your aid, Sir Corin, but I don't even know for sure where we are. I think I'd better go into town and find someone who knows this area. Corin's smile disappears, disappointment evident in his now slumping shoulders. Well, I just thought, maybe... His voice trails off, and you see a new alertness in his body. Look, he exclaims, kneeling down. These are the tracks of the centaur. We can follow them right to your father. It will be raining soon, though, and the tracks will disappear. We must leave now. Then he adds, his shyness forgotten in his excitement. I'm very good at following tracks. You feel his enthusiasm begin to remove your uncertainty. Maybe he can help, you think. Maybe he knows more than he appears to know. And maybe it would be fun to spend time with him. You brush at your red gown and cloak, wishing they hadn't gotten so wrinkled. Stop it, Chandelle, you tell yourself sternly. Be realistic. I can't go off with this man just because he's attractive. I need someone with experience. You're about to make up your mind when you think, but I should go hunting for my father while the tracks are still fresh. They might be washed away by the time I return from town with help. You must decide. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day. All right, this is our first decision. Do we want to trust Corin and follow the fresh tracks on the ground? Or do we want to go to town and find more experienced help? Chat, what do you think? I did see the card. Yes, I replied to it. Go to town, follow the tracks. Uh-oh, we've already got some. No, we don't know. We don't know. I'm gonna put a poll. I'm gonna put a quick poll. We're not gonna. Let's see. Not 5 minutes. We'll put this up for 1 minute. Really quick. Town? No additional votes. One vote. One voice, one vote. Whichever option is the more reckless one. Probably going to the I'll put you down for tracks. That seems more reckless. I'll add your vote to the votes on Twitch. We'll just wait for a minute. We'll see. We won't vote for all the choices. We'll go by vibes. There's a guy named Torbeck in this. I know there's a guy named Torbeck. This is not the guy. Maybe there's two guys. I have to pick my fantasy boyfriend in this story. This is downfall of literature. Women want to read romance novels. Did you vote on Twitch? Okay, great. I do know. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. All right, what's our vote so far? Looks like we're going for... We got 3 votes for tracks, 1 vote, 2 votes for town. Uh-oh, I hope it's not... I hope we don't have a lot of ties. Looks like we're following the tracks. Looks like we're going to follow the tracks. Okay, so we're going to go to page 110. Get that down to page 110. Don't want to accidentally read... If we don't leave now and follow the tracks, we may never find my father, you say. I don't think I could stand that. Tears fill your eyes again. Try not to worry, Chandelle, Corin says, hesitating, Headley put a head on your shoulder. You see deep concern in his eyes. I'll do everything I can help you by my honor as a knight. He finishes in a flourish that makes him blush again. Then he looks at your hand on his shoulder and drops it quickly, adding, We'd better be on our way. Corin helps you unharness your horse, Dawdle. You'll have to leave the wagon and hope to return to it later. Looking up at the darkening sky, you grab the leather bag of magic stones and thrust them into your pocket. Then, before Sir Corin can help you, you step up on the hub of the wagon wheel and swing your leg over Dawdle, skirts swirling around you. You're serving even while you get on the horse. You're posing. You're making sure that you're observed. All right, Sir Corin, let's go, you say firmly. You turn your face forward, determined not to look back at your father's wagon, which you must abandon. The young knight on this cinnamon horse leads as you follow the distinct tracks of the centaur through the woods. The sky darkens as you enter a dense forest. After an hour, you see other tracks joining those of the centaur, tracks you don't recognize. They come from all directions and make a muddy path through the woods. You're staring at the ground when you hear a faint sound. Sir Corin, listen! Hey, listen! You say, stopping your horse. The knight turns in his saddle and says, Won't you please call me Corin, Chantel? I'm very proud of the sir, but Corin sounds much friendlier. Yes, I will, but listen, please. You both stop your horses and listen. Through the woods comes a faint melody, so soft that it might be the breeze itself. Oh, Corin, you say, your eyes widening with pleasure. It's a satyr's pipes. I haven't heard them since I was a child. If it's a satyr, maybe we're nearing the centaur. Satyrs and centaurs often live near each other, Corin reaches behind him and takes up his shield. We'd better be ready for anything. But satyrs are friendly, you exclaim. I think we're notoriously horny. That could be a dangerous situation. You thought centaurs were friendly too, Corin reminds you. We better walk, Shando. Why, you ask, confused by his suggestion. Well, frankly, I fight better on the ground, he says, as you struggle to stifle a giggle. If you hear the pipes again, you better cover your ears. A satyr's melody might be magical. You swing your leg over and prepare to slide off Dawdle when Corin shouts, Wait! Frozen in that position, you watch Corin quickly jump from his horse and run back to you. Now slide off. I'll catch you, he says. I don't want you to hurt yourself. Oh, Corin, I've been jumping off of horses for years all by myself. Inside, you are overcome by a mixture of feelings. The desire to know what it's like to have a brave, gentle knight hold you. And, well, he hasn't bought mounted combat yet. He's probably also just level 1. These are level 1 adventurers. They have a lot of magic items, but they are level 1 adventurers. See, he just finished his knight training. He's not... The desire to know... Oh, wait. The inside, you are overcome by a mixture of feelings. The desire to know what it's like to have a brave, gentle knight hold you. Anger at the idea that he thinks you need help, plus a little fear that you might not carry it off gracefully. But then you see his expectant face turn toward yours and know that you can't reject his offer. Sliding off the horse, you feel Corin's strong hands catch you before your feet touch the ground. It's a new sensation. A man holding you close. I could get used to this, you think, enjoying the feeling. Corin gently puts you down. You keep your eyes lowered, embarrassed at being so close, and whisper, Thank you. Then you free yourself from his arms, hurriedly cock your head, and ask, Do you hear the satyr anymore? Corin raises his hand, a fleeting emotion, disappointment perhaps, crossing his face. No, he says, listening. Suddenly, something zips past your head and thuds against a tree behind you. What? Corin exclaims. He looks down and sees a heavy stone rolling on the ground at the base of the tree. You quickly look in the direction from which the stone must have been launched and catch sight of several short human-like creatures with horned heads and hooved hind legs. They are satyrs! They glare at you angrily, swinging stones in their hands, ready to hurl more large stones at you. Get behind a tree, shouts Corin. But I can help fight them, you argue, knowing you have a dagger and knowing, too, that you're capable of defending yourself. Please, Chandel, I'm a knight. Let me protect you, he demands in an offended tone. Will you let Corin fight the satyrs alone and prove himself in his first battle as a knight? Or, if you're reluctant to pretend you need protection, help fight the satyrs and turn to page 122. Alright, I'm gonna do another poll. Tough choice. Tough choice. We could make a man do it. I'm going to say one thing while you guys are contemplating the decision. These books do not have as many deaths as a classic CYOA. Many classic CYOAs will instantly kill you. But since these books were designed for girls, I think they went a little easier on the girls. So it's hard to get a fast game over in HeartQuest from my experience, which I think is nice. I actually think they're pretty well designed CYOAs. There's not a lot of just instant dead ends in these. There's actually some branches that go in lots of directions. So I don't think either of these is going to be a death. But if it is a death, if we do stumble on a fast death, fight. The answer is fight. We got fight. We didn't make the man do it. If we do stumble on a fast death, then we will simply roll back. We'll roll back until we get at least one good real ending. One real ending in this. So chat has voted fights. We're gonna fight. We're gonna fight the satyrs. Turn to page 122. Torn between letting Corin prove himself and helping him fight the unfriendly satyrs, you indecisively finger the chain around your neck. Then another stone flies towards you. And you know you can't leave the fight to Corin alone. Your father raised you to do your best in any situation. Chandel, run! Corin shouts as he pulls his helmet into place. I can't, Corin, you say calmly. I have to fight. And I can, without getting hurt. Without explaining further, you start walking towards the satyrs. For a moment, the creatures are astonished at your daring. But their wonder soon changes to rage as you approach. In their fury, they forget their slings and start throwing rocks as fast as they can. But no thrown rock can hurt you. What you hadn't taken time to explain to Corin is that an amulet that protects you from missiles of any kind hangs from the chain around your neck. It would have been nice to have known that myself. I just indicate. Okay. An invisible shield surrounds and protects you from any thrown object. Chandel, Corin shakes again. It's all right, Corin, you say. See? The rocks can't hurt me, but you've got to stop these beasts. The satyrs, frightened at seeing their rocks bounce harmlessly away from you, run when Corin's sword sweeps through the fray. Moving in the wake of your invisible shield, Corin dodges the rocks, his sword flashing and wounding any satyr it meets. Soon the battle is over. As the last satyr dashes out of sight, Corin turns to you and raises his sword triumphantly. The book conveniently forgot to mention that I was immune to projectiles. Well, that's fine. That's fine. As the last satyr dusted out of sight, Corin turns to you and raises his sword triumphantly. We did it, Chandel. Then he drops his sword and gives you an enthusiastic hug. It feels absolutely wonderful. But then Corin realizes what he's doing and quickly releases you, blushing with embarrassment. To ease his embarrassment, you quickly say, Let me show you the magic pendant that helped save us. After looking at the golden brown gem set in silver, you and Corin mount your horses and set out again, following the centaur tracks which are now almost lost among the smaller satyr tracks. Soon you realize that all the tracks are headed in one direction. When you reach a point where they converge into one muddy path, Corin turns and whispers, Wait, Chandel. There's been so much activity along this path that I think our destination must be directly ahead. We can't make a sound. Then let's leave the horses, you suggest. Tying Dawdle and Bilkin to a tree, you and Corin creep forward to a huge boulder. Yeah, the hug is about as spicy as this gets. You see the muddy path disappear into the mouth of a cave. The centaur tracks go into the cave, Corin whispers. Then we better go in too, you say firmly. That must be where my father was taken. But, Chandel, anything could be waiting in there. You better stay out here with the horses. He's my father, Corin. Then you think of the special help you can offer and reach into your pocket for the leather pouch of stones. Look, you say, pouring the stones into your hand. Corin's eyes widen as the stones rise to circle your head. What are they, Chandel? You explain what your father told you about them, and then you scoop them back into the pouch. Oh, I've also got my crystal ball. You laugh at the amazement on his face and hold up your wrist. From the golden bracelet around it dangles a small, clear crystal sphere. See, it's just a little one, but it might warn us of danger parked ahead in the cave. My dad gave me every magical item in his inventory. My well-protected Chandel, I would be proud to have you accompany me into the cave. And he makes a formal bow and gestures you toward the cave. Corin leading, his sword held ready, you enter the dark mouth of the cave. You feel protected as you walk behind the knight, but each step that you take deeper into the unknown darkness makes you increasingly apprehensive. He just wanted her to be safe, I guess. Then you round a corner and see a faint light ahead, enough light so that you can see into your crystal ball. Relieved that it reveals no creature waiting for you, you breathe more easily and become curious about where you are. As you walk, the light increases until you can see more of your surroundings. The dark rock of the passageway walls is worn smooth. As the light grows brighter, you realize that the rock itself, and the floor under your cream-colored boots as well, is a deep, luminous red, almost the color of blood. Rounding a corner, you stop abruptly, blinded by the bright light given off by torches mounted on the wall. Once your eyes adjust to the light, you can see that you have entered a small but richly furnished room. A plush carpet cushions your feet, and a soft couch dotted with a scattering of patterned cushions stands invitingly against one wall. The torches are mounted in ornate jewel holders, and the walls are veiled in heavy velvet curtains that seem to deny the fact that you are in a cave. Do you suppose someone lives here, you ask? It certainly isn't a usual cave, Corbin replies. Maybe I can find someone, you suggest. Holding your braceleted wrist in front of you, you peer down into the crystal sphere. You turn slowly, letting the crystal ball reveal all directions. You're about to say that no one is near when you detect movement in the ball. Corin, you whisper harshly. Someone's coming, behind us. Corin quickly plasters himself to the wall beside the door, sword raised and shield from in front of him. Get behind me, Chandel. You've just moved back against the wall when you hear a rustling sound coming from a doorway. You feel Corin tense, ready to wield his sword. The sound of movement stops and a voice comes from the passageway. Now, if the young man holding that sword so fiercely will kindly lower it, I'll enter the room. The voice is low, gently accented, and lyrical. It's not clear what kind of accent, so we'll play that by ear. You feel Corin startled, but he doesn't lower his sword. You, on the other hand, want to know who or what is behind the doorway. Unfortunately, your crystal ball is too small to provide a clear view. Put it down, Corin, you demand in a whisper. But we don't know who it is, he insists. And you'll never find out if we don't lower your sword. We seem to be getting nowhere, the voice says. Well, I'm coming in. I'll just have to trust that you won't use that sword on me. Into the room glides a woman with long, gleaming black hair tumbling over her shoulders. She is dressed in wine-red velvet decorated with brilliant jewels of many colors. You feel Corin's sword arm jump slightly in astonishment as she turns toward him, and you see that she is breathtakingly beautiful. Her skin has the glowing translucence of a prize pearl, and her eyes, which are slightly slanted, appear to contain the knowledge of the world in their dark depths. And who do we have here? She asks. You note that her dark eyes focus fully on Corin, and somehow you don't feel included in her question. Uh-oh, rival woman. Rival woman. Yeah, elf. She could be an elf, yeah. The elf eyes. What do you see with your elf eyes? I'm called Sir Corin, milady, Corin stammers, and his sword arm drops. You watch, surprised and dismayed, as you see Corin blush and look pleased. You doubt if he's even aware that you're still behind him. Well, he's going to be aware, you think to yourself. You move out from behind him and say icily, and I am Chandel. Who are you? The raven-haired woman steps back slightly, and slowly looks you up and down with an air of total indifference, making you feel small, insignificant, and ugly. She seems to reject you as beneath her notice and turns back to Corin. As a cat-like smile flickers on her face, she says, I am called Wyvella. Wyvella? What brings you here? Ha, men. She listens to Corin's explanation without comment. You're not certain, but you think you see that same glimmer of smile across her face when Corin explains about your father's kidnapping. Corin doesn't seem to notice, though, and goes right on with his story. You feel your anger building as they talk. Why, Corin is actually enjoying this, you think heatedly. Oh, there she is. Doesn't look like she has pointed ears, though. Maybe she's not an elf. Maybe she's some kind of magic user, though. Some kind of mage of some sort. She's not an elf, though. I didn't mention pointy ears. I gotta love these illustrations. Oh, we're actually... Wait, hang on. What is this? What's that? That's my object. Don't ask questions about my object. You don't want to know the answers. No AI art back in those days. All drawn with a pen. We have about a minute, so I'm going to keep going, but I know some of you are in ads. We do have one more page. After Corin relates all the factors leading up to your present predicament, the woman seems lost in thought for a long moment. Finally, she says, I'm sure there is an explanation for all of this. Please accept my assistance, Lord Sir Corin. I'd be happy to take you farther into the cave to see what we can find out. I think we can find out what we need to know for ourselves, you interrupt coolly. Corin appears to notice you for the first time since this lovely woman entered the room. But Chandel, if Mistress Wyvella is willing to help, we certainly ought to accept her gracious offer. If Mistress Wyvella wishes to help, Then perhaps she wouldn't mind telling us why she's living here in a cave. You try to speak calmly and evenly, but you hear anger creeping into your voice and know that you're beginning to sound childish and silly. An enigmatic smile flits across Wyvella's face. Ignoring your questions, she says calmly, "Well, Sir Corin, what shall it be? Do you desire my help or not? Chandel, what do you want to do? Do you want to follow Wyvella farther into the cave, hoping to find your father? Or will you leave Corin and Wyvella and, trusting your magical gems, go on alone to find your father?" Turn to page 36. So if you're just getting back from ads, this is the mysterious woman that we've met in the cave. Do we trust the mysterious woman or not? I don't know. She doesn't seem to be an elf, but she's got to have some sinister. Why does she live in a cave? There's something going on here, right? Also, she's too sexy, and she might steal our man. Yeah. But we could follow her. It looks like Corin is going to stick with her, so we're either going on our own, or either going alone, or we're going to trust her. Could be a trap, though. What if it's a trap? Then we all get sucked into her devious trap. She's trying to steal our man and our magic jewels. We're getting don't. The votes are saying do not follow the mysterious woman. Okay, we're gonna not follow the mysterious woman. We're gonna go to page 36. Try not to read any of the pages in between. So I don't get spoiled. Why don't we split up, Corin, you suggest. You go with Wyvella down that passageway, you say, pointing in the direction from which Wyvella appeared. I'll go explore the passage leading out the other side of this room. Corin looks as if he's about to interrupt you, so you rush on. I've got my gems and my crystal ball to help me stay out of danger. Sorry, a little water, real quick, water break. Nobody trusts this mysterious woman. She seems evil. No, Chandel, Corin says firmly. I said I would take care of you. You breathe again, overjoyed that he has chosen you over this woman. But your joy is short-lived, because then he adds, Come, Chandel, come with Wyvella and me. She's been good enough to volunteer to help. We certainly ought to accept her offer. He looks so young and vulnerable, you think. But if that's what he wants... No, Corin, but thanks for your help. You go on with Wyvella. I'll meet you later. You walk swiftly out of the room, turning down the second passageway. At first, you see only stone corridors and occasionally a small room, each as luxuriously appointed as the first. At each corner of the passageway, you study your crystal ball to see if you are about to meet anyone, but the ball stays clear. But then you turn a corner, and the crystal ball takes on a bright red hue. You know that you've entered a special area of the cave. She's entered the special zone. Here the rooms look brighter, and even more luxurious than those you've already passed. These are huge, with gem-studded floors piled high with soft cushions. Draperies of fine silk accented with tassels of real golden thread fall in graceful folds from the ceiling. You see, everywhere, little niches in the walls holding special items of treasure, jewelry, ornaments, statues, all composed of precious metals and gems. You inspect each with growing eagerness and professional appreciation. Oh, heck no. If this is not a real adventure, because you'd already be looting this. Finally, you reach what appears to be the largest room of all. In it, you are drawn to the sight of a perfectly round sphere of gold suspended in midair. You walk toward it, marveling at its incredible craftsmanship. As you gaze into its polished surface, you hear a shuffling sound, and in the ball, a red shape appears behind you. You gasp and turn, terrified of what you see. Facing you is a huge winged dragon, the deep, blood-red color of a ruby. It towers above you, clearly enjoying the fear its presence induces in you. Corin, where are you? You whisper, more as a wish than as a call for help. Then you recognize the look on the dragon's face. It's the same cat-like look you saw across Wyvella's face when she met Corin. Ah, so she was the dragon. That makes perfect sense, because who the hell is named Wyvella? That's a dragon in human form name if I ever heard one. I'm picturing her like the red dragon from Shrek. Are you picturing the Shrek dragon? I guess she's the dragon from the illustration. Hang on. This is the scene that we're having right now. Yes. Oh, that was an ending. I don't want to read the endings too soon. This is what, page 37? Okay, there we go. Wyvella, you cry. And for a moment, the dragon's face is replaced by that of the slant-eyed woman. When you blink, you see only the ruby dragon. Oh, that's kind of creepy. That's weird. Like a woman's head on a dragon's body. It's crazy. I thought you might have sensed something devious about me earlier, the dragon says. I can, of course, assume the identity of whomever I wish. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Radel. I see you have been admiring my decorations. Yes, so many lovely things, you murmur, puzzled as to why you're standing here conversing with the dragon. Here, let me offer you some hospitality, says Radel, and it holds out a moisture-covered goblet surrounded by gold and silver threads intertwined in delicate patterns. No, thank you, you stammer, turning toward the doorway, but Radel's foot reaches the door before you. You stop abruptly before running into the sharp talons turned toward you. Are you sure you wouldn't like some water? Okay, that's what it says, yes. Okay. There's a typo. Well, there's gonna be some typos in this book. Are you sure you wouldn't like some water? It's very special water, it says. But this time so firmly, you know there could be no answer but yes. As you drink from the beautiful goblet, you feel a sense of urgency draining from you. Your eyes are spellbound by the goblet itself, and you know that you can live with such splendid things forever. All you have to do is whatever the magnificent Radel asks of you, says the ruby dragon in a surprisingly gentle voice. Come, we will go find your father, and you may work alongside him at his jeweler's bench. I understand that you have acquired your father's skill at making beautiful things. I have many gems that need proper care. That will be your job. You feel nothing but pleasure at the dragon's concern for your well-being. And that's the end. We have achieved Dragon Yuri ending. Not where I thought this story was going. I guess I've received the dragon hypnosis Yuri ending. That's actually a little bit spicy. That's not where I thought this story was going. I didn't trust her. I didn't even follow her. All right, how far back do you want to go? Do we want to see what happens if we don't trust the dragon? Let's just go back one. Was that page 110? 120? Yeah, here we go. What happens if we do follow into the cave? And then we'll go back to the beginning. 26, page 26. There might be more story. No, there is more story. Okay, let's go back to this choice. At least half a dozen people. Toxic Dragon Yuri? Yeah, Toxic Dragon Yuri. Wow. Did not know this was going that direction. The tracks of the monsters who took your father certainly came into this cave. You've no doubt about it. Wyvella clearly lives in the cave system, so she must know something about the other inhabitants of the cave. Suddenly you feel a bit silly to refuse her offer just because you feel jealous of the attention she's paying to Corin. Ah, but now we know she's secretly a dragon, so where is this going? Let's go with Wyvella, you say. Wyvella, waiting patiently all this time, gives you a look that somehow makes you feel she knew what you would decide. Follow me, she says to Corin, ignoring you. Somehow, you end up walking behind the pair, but your anger gradually cools as you walk. Each corridor you walk through has a special beauty that soon absorbs you. The colors, fabrics, paintings, statues, all are more luxurious than anything you've ever seen. And each room you pass is different. You see dormitories, kitchens, game rooms, even rooms filled with cages of small monsters. Nurseries, you wonder? They're just skipping the entire dungeon. Normally there'd be a dungeon here. They're just skipping it. They're not even doing the dungeon crawl. You ask Wyvella questions about the cave and its inhabitants, but her answers are always evasive. By the time her step slows, you know no more than you did when you started out, except that you are in a cavern of incredible complexity and fascination. Wyvella finally turns and says, "Just ahead are the chambers of a ruby dragon." "A dragon!" you exclaim. You and Corin look at each other wide-eyed. But Wyvella continues, matter-of-factly. Her name is Radel, has a great deal of treasure. Still stunned by the news that you might be dealing with the dragon, you manage to ask, "But what about my father?" "I am sure he must be here somewhere in Radel's rooms, perhaps working on the treasure. Though she has many, shall we say, trinkets. Radel always desires more. But you'll have to find your father yourself. If Radel knew I had led you into this section of the cave, she would take terrible revenge." Then she warns you, "Don't expect finding your father to be easy. Radel likes to keep what she has obtained. But Chandel, why don't you go looking around? While you search, I'll keep Sir Corin company." Burning at her words, as well as the fact that Corin did not contradict them and say he was coming with you, you say swiftly, "Goodbye, both of you. Thank you for all your help. I'll go find my father alone." "Sir Corin, the successful conclusion of your first quest may be in sight. Let's go together and take my father away from his capture, the dragon." You also want to explore. Actually, one thing that I'll say about the ones of these that I have read is that they are really pretty good at rewarding you for being proactive. For example, even though it was a bit of a cheat, having a magical amulet, it certainly didn't punish us for saying, "I'm going to stand and fight," versus "I'm going to let the knight do it," right? Like, it did let us do things. For the most part, what I've found from reading these hard quest books is that the more proactive choice is often the one that is rewarded in the story. Not to say that always. In this case, going on your own was kind of the game over decision. So in this case, what are we going to... This is like the same choice as before, right? So stay with Corin. We'll say. And then no was the first choice. And yes, it was the second choice. So, do you think it's going to punish us again for not sticking with the man? Or you think it's going to let us go on our own? Or you think it's going to let us make us stay with the guy? And I will also say that most of these books were written by women, as far as I know. So I don't think they're like... I think they're pretty much for girls by girls for the most part. There was a lot of women involved in TSR in the 80s. You might not think that, because obviously the pastime is very like boy coded, but there's a lot of women involved in TSR. And part of the, this is, I think, people say that it's a modern affectation to try to make games for girls or try to get girls into games that boys... Okay, we're gonna go on our own. Page 72. We'll see how that goes for us. But actually, no. Actually, it's pretty common that throughout history that people have tried to, get girls and give girls things like this. And I don't even think that this is wrong-headed of them to do so. This is going to be another game over, guys. I have a feeling. After Gagas left. Yeah, exactly. Well, you think if he so easily turned from the quest he agreed to undertake, I'll just have to go without him. I can do it. Searching in your crystal ball before turning a corner or passing a broom, you safely move deeper into the cave. Your astonishment at its beauty distracts you from your fear at being alone. Suddenly a sound halts you mid-step. It's a metallic tap, tap, tap that sounds very familiar. "Father!" you exclaim aloud. You've heard that sound all your life. It's the sound of his goldsmith's hammer on stone. You run toward the sound and finally reach an iron door slightly ajar. The tap-tap rings clearly through the doorway. "Father!" you call, pushing the door open, and then your heart stops. There in front of you stands Wyvella, a look of evil pleasure on her face. "Oh, Chandel!" you hear your father say sadly. You turn and see both Corin and your father chained to the wall, and on a workbench nearby, a small goldsmith's hammer hangs in midair, tapping lightly on a golden goblet with no human hand guiding it. Just a little magic to lure you here, my dear, says Wivella, and then she adds, now, shall we get better acquainted? And then you watch, wide-eyed with fear, the mysterious raven-haired woman transforms into a huge ruby-colored dragon. You may call me Rada. Ah, so again, it was one other game over from going on our own. They don't want us to go on our own as much as we would like to try it. Let's see. We gotta figure out what page we were on previously. What page was that? I don't wanna flip to. Oh no, there's so much going on. I'm in the wrong spot. There's so many things in this book that aren't involving the dragon. Another Toxicuri ending. Sally, the tried and true let's split up gang did not pay out. Yeah, I think they're just, it's not so much that they're trying to make you be an independent woman as they don't want you to split the party, which is actually very good. Don't split the party. You get once you've got a party, you can split the party. Right. It's not toxic. You're allowed to trace books with patience here through Tumblr. I don't know that that's true, but maybe. All right, let's see what happens if we go to page 153 here. Every once in a while, I flip through and see stuff that's completely unrelated to this plot thread, so I know there's a lot of stuff in this book. 153. Corin looks startled and seems to snap out of Wyvella's enchantment at your reminder that he's on a quest. He looks once more at Wyvella and turns slightly red, then stammers. Thank you for your help, Wyvella. Chandel and I will look for her father together. He must be around here somewhere. You and Corin walk rapidly away from Wyvella and into the chambers of the Ruby Dragon. You turn many corners looking for clues to your father's presence, continuously searching your crystal ball for any warning of danger ahead. Seeing none for several minutes, you begin to relax and enjoy the many visual surprises the tavern contains. Gradually, however... I'm trying to make sure my piano motion doesn't reset. Oh yeah, we're at the end of it again. No, we aren't. Never mind, we're good. This is also good cave music for what we're doing now. We're in a cave right now. Gradually, however, a sound begins to penetrate the silence of the cave. You become aware that for some time you've been hearing a faint tapping sound in the distance. What's that sound? You whisper urgently. Corin stands still and listens. I don't know. It's him, you interrupt. Listen. And then you distinctly hear a metallic tap, tap, tap. Can I make a tap, tap, tap? Like soda can. Not very good, is it? That's him, you exclaim. I'm sure that noise is my father working on gold with his hammer. I've heard that sound all my life. Come on. And you rush quickly down the passage toward the sound. Slow down, Chandel, Corin says. The dragon might be with your father. Oh, stopping abruptly, you turn back toward the young knight behind you. Concern for you shows on his furrowed brow. That's no way to treat such a handsome face, you think. I should try not to cause him such worry. But you're pleased that he cares. As Corin joins you, he smiles and says, I really would like an opportunity to get to know you better. And I don't think I'll have a chance if you go dashing headlong into a dragon. Side by side you walk on, looking at your crystal ball and listening for the alluring tapping sound. Is alluring the word you want there? I'm not sure about that one. Finally, you're certain that the source of the sound is just around the corner. Corin tiptoes ahead of you and stands on the opposite side of an iron door. As you join him, you see that the door is just slightly ajar. Your crystal ball reveals a tall, thin man standing at a workbench on the other side of the door. It's him, you mouth to Corin, your face glowing with relief at finding your father alive. You make a gesture indicating that you're going to push the door open. Corin raises his sword, ready for anything, and nods for you to go ahead. Your heart pounding mightily, you push lightly at the door and look into a large chamber, a fire burning in the middle. No one is in sight. As you open the door farther, you again hear the familiar metallic tap, tap. Father, you shout excitedly, pushing the door completely open. And there indeed is your father, standing at the workbench, hammer in hand. But as you take in the frightened look on his face, you realize that someone else is standing behind the door. Cautiously, you peer through the slit between door and door jamb and you see Wyvella, a look of proud satisfaction on her face. Wyvella, you found my father, you exclaim, and the bewilderment overwhelms your excitement as you cry out. Why wasn't your presence revealed in my crystal ball? My magic must be stronger than yours, she purrs, her eyes flashing with satisfaction. But your father stiffly shakes his head and then shouts out, That's not Wyvella, it's the dragon. I think Wyvella and the dragon are the same person, but maybe he didn't know that. And then out of the mouth of a beautiful, mysterious woman calls a roar of rage. As the sound rolls over you, you watch, your eyes wide with astonishment and fear, as she transforms into a huge, ruby-colored dragon. You stand frozen with fear until you feel Corin grab your hand and pull you behind him. Then your fear changes to horror as you watch the man you're beginning to care about advance on the dragon with his sword drawn. You edge over towards your father and whisper, What can we do? You may have brought the answer with you. Corin? No, though he looks like one answer for you. No, I'm talking about the ion stones I had with me. Do you have them? Yes, but I've been afraid to use them, you confess. All the time you've talked, your eyes have been following the movement of the brave knight. Did we ever actually, wait, was that, excuse me? Okay, well, that's the dragon's name. We know that from dying to her multiple times, but it was not mentioned in this segment. Okay, well, whatever. Bradel seems to be teasing him with lashing movements of her tail, but you know that at any moment she could become vicious. Take out the stones, you do as your father says, and the stones rise and circle your head. Ignore what's going on around you, Chandel, says your father. Think only about the purple stone and about your need for help from whatever power is in it. Closing your mind to all else but your father's words, you concentrate on the deep purple gem that hovers in front of your forehead. Your thoughts turn inward and find a calmness that centers on the power in the spellstone. Soon the edge of your mind notices the purple stone is vibrating and it has begun to glow. That's it, your father says, encouragingly. Into the calmness comes the word change. It demands that you notice it and think about it. Then from nowhere, two phrases enter your thoughts. Stone of fire, stone of light, change the dragon with your might. A gasp from your father breaks your concentration, and your thoughts turn outward again. The dragon is gone. Corin lunges forward with his mighty sword, thrusting it. Nothing. A look of astonishment crosses your face. She's gone! The dragon is gone! He exclaims. No, she's not, says your father, laughing. Look. And he points to the spot where Radel had stood. There is a small, rust-colored cat, spitting and hissing at you, its tail fluffed out in rage. Corin bursts into laughter, which only makes the cat spit more. Then he says, Now I know what Wyvella reminded me of. It wasn't a dragon, but a cat. Father, Corin, let's get out of here, you say, before we run into anything else. Using your crystal ball every step of the way this time, you manage to avoid other creatures and find your way safely out of the cave onto a fresh moonlit evening. Dottle and Bilkin stand tied to the tree where you left them. Corin takes you with him on his great cinnamon horse, leaving Dottle for your father to ride. And as the night's strong arm encircles you, you hear the story of your father's short but terrifying stay in Radel's cave. She had rooms full of treasure that she wanted me to sort and mount. It would have taken a lifetime, he concludes. I would much rather do what I have always done, travel the countryside, making a few good pieces of jewelry for people who appreciate them. Your father turns to you and says, But maybe you won't feel like doing that anymore. Maybe you'll be afraid to travel with me now. Before you can deny it, Corin breaks in. Well, sir, maybe I have an idea that would help. Why don't you hire a guard to travel with you? One who could protect you and Chandel. You turn to look at the knight whose arm holds you so gently. He smiles at you a secret smile, one that holds your whole future in it. Then you turn to your father and say, That's a good idea, father. Let's hire a guard. Your father smiles and asks slightly, Do you know anyone who might want the job? After all, it could be quite taxing, keeping track of a spirited young woman like you. And who knows what the future might bring in a job like that? He might have to put up with you for the rest of his life. And as you lean back in Sir Corin's arms, you hear him say quietly, I hope so, sir. I certainly hope so. The end. Wow. Well, you didn't even kiss. That's not even a kiss. It's a hug. It's literally a hug. I told you guys, it's not very spicy. Actually, honestly, the Toxic Yuri ending was sort of hotter. Like if I was gonna pick one of these endings to spin off into like a longer adventure. Although it's cute. It's very cute, right? These are very, very cute. These are very cute stories. And they lived happily ever after, one assumes. I mean, one thing I have a question about before I go back to the beginning of the book. That's a ruby dragon, right? As opposed to a red dragon. It's a gem dragon. They do breathe fire. I'm looking it up now. They do breathe fire. But they're lawful neutral. Oh, that's interesting. Lawful neutral. I wonder if this was a bit of a... She felt more lawful evil to me. She felt kind of evil. Well, but one good polymorph. One good polymorph takes care of that. So that was one possible ending. Now we have never met Torbeck, who was in the intro. So what I'm gonna do is go back to the very beginning of the book and try the go into town path, which will give us a completely different story, probably. Right? If you weren't here at the beginning of the stream, it begins when my character, Chandel, is attacked in her father's wagon. I gotta be careful, I'm too loud. My voice is loud. Is attacked in her father's wagon and finds the iron stones in the bag left behind, the magical gems. Another thing I'm very curious about is, does she have metallic dragons or neutral? No, it's chromatic evil, metallic good, gem neutral. So the gem dragons are supposedly the neutral ones. So theoretically a ruby dragon would be a neutral dragon, but I felt like she was evil. She couldn't have been very old though, because one polymorph spell from like a level from stored in a great. This is my first job as a wizard, as a girl wizard. I learned how to cast a single spell and I won the day. I don't think we'll encounter the dragon in this version of the story at all. Maybe we will. Although this is odd because if that's where my dad is, then where could this other story possibly take me? I want to know what happens if we go into town. So we're going to go to page 99. Maybe this isn't deterministic though. Maybe my dad is wherever the story is. Or maybe going to page 99, I don't get to save my dad. It's a different story. All right, we're starting from here, which is ditching Corin. I mean, there's another guy in this book, I know for a fact. I don't know if he's a good guy, but there's another guy in this book. We'll find him. Experience is probably more useful than enthusiasm in a fight, you think to yourself. Turning to Corin, you say, "We'd better go into town. See what we can learn about the creatures around here. Maybe there's some explanation for why they are attacking people." "Well, if you think so," says Corin. A look of disappointment flashes on his face. "But I'm sure I can handle anything we might run into." "I'm sure you could, Corin," you say, not wanting to hurt his feelings. "But I can't take a chance or two on two of us not being able to rescue my father." "Then I'll be on my way, Chandel. I'm sure you'll find help in town. Probably more experienced help. You won't need me." You try to persuade him to stay with you, but he's firm about leaving. However, he offers, "I'll see you safely to the edge of town." Unharnessing Dawdle from the wagon shifts, you mount her bareback and head toward town. At the edge of the forest, you say goodbye to Corin and ride on, wondering a bit sadly what you might have missed by parting from him now. You missed a potential good ending, or you missed a potentially being trapped in a dragon's lair for the rest of your life, which we don't know how that would have went. Could be either of those things. In town, you quickly find most people are reluctant to talk to a stranger. "I can't talk now," says one fearful woman, clutching her shawl about her head and walking away quietly. "We just don't take notice of anything," says a man repairing a fence. "It's safer that way." Finally, a small boy looks carefully around and exclaims in a whisper, "Oh, I'm not afraid of any dragon." Then a look of fear at his own daring crosses his face, and he turns and dashes down the road. Dragon! Standing there in the road, stunned, you wonder what you've led yourself into, and you wish Sir Corin were here with you. You look for an inn and find one, the Wooden Whistle, near the edge of town. There's little sign of activity, and when you enter the dimly lit, low-ceilinged public room, you find yourself almost alone. Ooh, as a lone man at a table in the corner. That's my favorite. You feel his gaze linger on you before it returns to his glass of ale. A small figure sits at a little table in the shadows in the back. The innkeeper rushes toward you, wiping his hands on his leather apron. Bowing slightly, he asks, "How may I be of service, milady?" "I want to hire someone, a fighter, to help me find my father." "Your father, milady?" "Yes. We were set upon, not far from here, by a centaur and some winged lions. They kidnapped him." Your composure suddenly breaks. The innkeeper tactfully ignores the tears that spring to your eyes and murmurs, as if to himself, "She's done some strange things before, but kidnapping a stranger? She? Oh, I was speaking of Radel, the red dragon." He looks quickly around, leans towards you, and speaks in a whisper. "Somehow the dragon has enchanted normally friendly creatures, such as those winged lions, and makes them do evil things. People hereabouts are frightened to even speak of her." So we're still dealing with the dragon on this version. "Well, this Radel has now taken my father as well as the precious jewels he had from him, you say?" "Ah, jewels, milady," says the innkeeper. "Now I understand. Radel is very fond of jewels. Although I am surprised that the creatures took your father, too. Usually they just break in and steal what gems and gold they can find to take to her lair." "My father is a jeweler," you say thoughtfully. "Well, that sheds a different light on it," he said, holding out his hands as if everything were now made clear. "She probably wants to have her favorite gems remounted. Now that I think of it, I have heard at least 2 goldsmiths who have disappeared," he adds. "And what happened to them?" you ask the innkeeper, fear leaping into your heart. "Oh, they were never heard of again." He stops abruptly as a large figure looms up in front of him. "You were going to say something that wouldn't alarm the lady," the newcomer demands sharply. "Oh, yes, of course," the innkeeper jabbers. Then he turns to you and says, "Oh, my lady, I certainly had no intention of adding to your fears." "No, that's all right," you say, trying to suppress the additional alarm you feel. Realizing that the newcomer who halted the innkeeper's thoughtless chatter is the man who was seated at the window, you say to him, "Sir, I think you heard about my plight. Perhaps you can suggest where I might find help." The man looks you squarely in the face and smiles. Until that moment, you'd had no real impression of him except as a large, dark man, probably a fighter, about 25 years old. But his smile transforms him. You see that he is handsome, in a rugged, slightly careworn sort of way. You know that his dark eyes are fully taking you in and liking what they see. Ooh, it's a little skeevy. I don't know. How old is she supposed to be? Maybe she's 18. It's fine. You straighten your cloak in your hand, involuntarily creeps to your hair to straighten it under the golden circlet. "Allow me to introduce myself, my lady. Sir Torbeck at your service." He bows stiffly, but his eyes fix yours intently, commanding you to heed him. "Among my other accomplishments, I battled the evil Gorgamera of the Thodol Forest, guided the first successful expedition through the great shimmering mountains, and returned the fabled Cloak of Clamoring to its owner. He was very appreciative." You stand mesmerized by the look in his eyes and the speech he just made, though understanding neither of them. "Wow, that's you did the wow, that's so cool and stuff." Yeah, he's higher level. He's like level 6. He's a ranger with like some levels on him. "Well, I am Chandel, daughter of Maris the jeweler. My father has been kidnapped by some creatures, possibly under the control of a red dragon. Sir, I need to hire someone to help me find and rescue him." On that last word, you realize once again the horror of the situation. Your voice breaks, and tears rush to your eyes. Sir Torbeck steps quickly to your side and puts a strong arm protectively around your shoulder. You feel an urge to relax against it. Now, my lady, don't fret," he says, smiling down on you. "I'll take care of everything. I'll get your father back." Your tears dry quickly as you realize that you're more aware of his arm than his words. Ooh. Trembling slightly, you bend over to brush something from the hem of your cloak. When you straighten up, you hope that it seems by chance you are no longer under his arm. You smile at him and say, I will be grateful to have your help, Sir Torbeck. Then you remember that he is a fighter, a man who helps people for a living. You hesitate, not knowing how to ask. Sir, how much? Sir Torbeck, seeing your confusion and reluctance to bring up the subject of payment, quickly interrupts. It would be my privilege to aid such a charming young lady as yourself. Let us say that we will about share equally any of the dragon's hoard we come across. Now we're playing Dungeons and Dragons. My dude was sitting over in the corner, and a maiden rushed in and said, oh, we gotta go on an adventure. Ah. Relieved at the problem being so easily solved, you quickly agree. Then looking around for the innkeeper, you realize the room had become quite dark. Oh, it's raining. The trail will be washed away. How are we going to find Rada's lair? Turning to Sir Torbeck, you ask, do you know the way? No, I don't, but... I know who can perhaps help, my lady, interrupts the innkeeper. There's a sage here in town who is very wise. I know he has made a great study of the red dragon. Maybe he has discovered where her lair is. Oh, he just keeps records and books, says a scornful voice from the other side of the room. Turning, you see the small figure that was seated at the back of the inn when you entered. As the figure nears you in the dim light, you see a female halfling, dressed in orange and brown, who adds, I know someone else who would be much more useful. Oh, you say, charmed by the diminutive person, about half your size, who seems to dance towards you on her feet as she crosses the room. Yes, she says in a small, sparkling voice. Subskirt is what my character would do. There's a witch, a lawful good witch named I want to say Granita, but isn't that just a drink? Is that a drink? Named Grantia, who lives in the woods at the edge of town. Her crystal ball will tell you what you need to know, and I'll be happy to take you there, the halfling adds enthusiastically. But there's just one thing. What's that? Torbeck asks. The halfling glanced at him and seems caught in his gaze in the way you were. A gentle, transforming smile flickers across the fighter's face, and the halfling unconsciously sighs in reaction. You clear your throat, and the halfling reluctantly turns back to you. I'll have to go with you. Grantia doesn't touch strangers. I can be a lot of help, and... She looks over at the fighter with a roguish smile. The company should be very interesting. Oh, that's right out of alignments. You're right. She didn't just say a good witch. She said a lawful good witch. that's how you talk about people, right? It's a lawful, and a lawful good witch. It's not just a good witch. That's not enough information. Lawful good witch. This is an adventuring party. We've got a party together now. How could you be of help? You're so... And she's flirting with my fighter. She's flirting. Small? The little figure completes the sentence. I know, but I'm a trained thief, and I can do lots of things you can't do. I can see in the dark. I can sneak through places very quietly, and I can talk to some of the creatures we meet. I bet you can't even speak Orcish, she says proudly. No, you admit, and the halfling adds, so you'd be glad to have my help, wouldn't you? Torbeck smiles down at her. Enchanted, little lady. I can't think of a thing I need more. But tell me why you're so eager to go with us. For a moment, the halfling's jovial face loses its animation. Slowly, she says, the dragon's hordes rampaged through my village some time back and destroyed everything. Oh, she's cute! Look at the art! There's art of her! She's so cute! Her voice drops to a fierce whisper. I'd said I'd get her, and I will. Even she seems shocked at the intensity in her voice, and consciously changes the expression on her face to one of pixie-ish humor. Then she curtsies in exaggerated fashion to you and says, Jancy, the small but enthusiastic thief, at your service. All right, Jancy, you say, charmed by the girl. I'll be glad of your company, and we can share in whatever wealth we find, after which we find my father. Good! Are we going to consult the witch? Torbeck moves closer to you and whispers, It might be a trick, Chandel. Centaur and winged lions might not be the only creatures the dragon can control with her powers. Perhaps we should go to the sage. Ooh, this one's kind of juicy. This is kind of a juicy question. I don't know. Who are we gonna ask for help? The witch or the sage? I don't see any reason not to trust the halfling. She seems pretty nice. She seems cool. Also, good little illustration. Or the tricksy hobbitses, that's true. Though she's not a hobbit. Look, she's got shoes. They're not allowed to have hobbits. They wanted to have hobbits. They very much wanted to have hobbits. That's a halfling. They're totally different. They're completely different creatures. They don't have fur on their feet. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry about that. I thought I muted the mic and I didn't because I pushed the wrong button. Trust the thief? We're going to the witch. Okay. I pushed the mute button, but the mute was for the other mic, and that mic's already muted, so it didn't do anything. Cool, cool, cool. Page 132. Hobbits are still copyright correct. So D&D is always halflings, because they're copyright. You cannot have a hobbit. Well, it's basically a hobbit. It was a thief. Looking intensely at Jancy's lively, open face, you find it impossible to believe she might be involved in some sort of evil trap. I'm sure the witch will be able to help us, you say. We'll go see her in the morning. That night, you share a room with Jancy. You stay awake for a while, chatting worriedly about your father, but soon you realize not much worries the halfling. You stop talking and drift off into restless slumber, in which a red-colored dragon looms large in your dreams. At dawn the next morning, Torbeck rides next to you as you follow Jancy's sleek pony, Gooseberry, into the woods. You're just beginning to hope she isn't leading you into a trap when you reach a house set into the side of the hill. Only its door and front window are visible. At the sound of your horses, a woman comes to the door. Her gentle face is surrounded by a white wimple that soars up from the shoulders of her gray gown to cover her hair. OG had race-bound at class. There was a lot of that in the old... I think this is AD&D, though, so I think we're okay. Although, even in AD&D, it wasn't necessarily that race was bound to class, but there was level limits. So you could only level up to a certain level in certain races and certain class combos. So, like, some races couldn't be certain classes. There's a lot of complexity to the way that class and race worked in this particular edition. So, like, maybe you could be as a human, you could make it all the way to level 20 wizard or an elf, but as a dwarf, you weren't allowed to be a wizard. Yeah. So there was a little bit of that, yeah. Or they would say, like, you could be a ranger, say, as an elf or as a human, but if you didn't have the right race, like say you're a gnome, you could only maybe ever reach level 6. I'm just arbitrarily choosing numbers. I don't remember the exact numbers. Yeah, then you could do extra level with higher stats. Yeah, exactly. So there was level limits for classes. They could never become the best. So to become the best possible wizard, I think you had to be human or elf, and the other classes couldn't do it. Other races can't do it. But it's a lot of complexity there. Like, gnomes had a specialty in illusionist only. So if you wanted to be a gnome wizard, you could be a gnome illusionist, and that would still let you max level. Very complicated. It's not the way they do it today. Today, it's a free-for-all. It used to be that way. They used to try to keep each race have, like, a flavor of what they could and couldn't do. So, like, halfling thief, which they didn't call it rogue back then, they called it thief. Halfling thief was like a pretty common combo because that was like a combo you could max out. In 1E, elf was a class. Yes, that's right. In 1E, elf was a class. Elf was not a race. They split it for advanced to make it elf and a race and class combo. Yeah, used to be elf was just its own class. Where was I? Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, I was playing Chrono Trigger now. Must hit the end of the Zelda playlist. I don't mind, but I'm gonna go back to the piano because it's more chill. I don't want to stop it either, though. I'm gonna let it play out. All right. Where was I? At dawn the next morning, Torbeck rides next to you as you follow Jancy's sleek pony, Gooseberry, into the woods. You're just beginning to hope she isn't leading you to a trap when you reach a house set into the side of the hill. Only its door and front window are visible. At the sound of your horses, a woman comes to the door. Her gentle face is surrounded by a white wimple that soars up from the shoulders of her gray gown to cover her hair. Not what I thought a witch would look like, you think. As she greets Jancy, who introduces you and Sir Torbeck as her friends, you bring Doddle to a halt and say, "Good morrow, man. We've come to find your father, of course." The witch completes the sentence with certainty, as if there could be no question about why you've come. "Enter the house of Granita. We will... I'm going to call her Granita, I swear to God. Enter the house of Grantia. We will ask the spirit of the crystal ball to help you." You drop off Doddle, but before the others can dismount, the witch says, "You must come alone, daughter. The ball will speak only to you and me." "No, Chandel," explained Sir Torbeck, deep concern written on his face. "You mustn't go in there alone." "Why not?" you ask. "Well, we don't know Jancy or this woman. What if this is a plot?" "Well, I don't know you either. What if this is a plot? Anything might happen," and his voice drops to a low whisper that only you can hear. "I certainly wouldn't want anything to happen to you." Smiling with pleasure at his words, you turn to the witch, but she anticipates you. "This is a house for women alone," she says firmly. "How did she know you would be coming?" Torbeck whispers. "I don't trust her. I can handle that dragon without her help." "Thank you for being so concerned, Torbeck, but I have to find out what she knows." Impulsively, you reach up and squeeze his hand briefly. "I'll be all right." Turning swiftly, you walk into the small, modest yet mysterious house. Well, this is a David Cage. I didn't get to choose to listen to the guy this time. I just decided, okay, all right, David Cage, okay. The witch enters behind you, closing the door, and moves smoothly past you. As your eyes adjust to the dimness of the small room, you see that the witch has already seated herself at the table and is staring into a large crystal ball. You realize that it's beginning to glow slightly. "Sit, Chandel," commands Grantia. "Your sight will be needed too, if we intend to persuade the spirit of the ball to show us all that it knows." You sit on opposite the witch and peer intently into the sphere. All you see is a swirling mist within. Then you hear Grantia say, "Ah," with a sigh of satisfaction. Creepy. "I see nothing," you say, as the mist refuses to part. "Hush, child, it will become clear." She pauses and then adds, "Yes, as I thought, the red dragon." Oh, now she's a red dragon, huh? Now she's a red dragon, not a ruby dragon? Those are two different things, D&D. Maybe they didn't have ruby dragons. I don't know. In the 80s. When did they invent that? Nah, they definitely did. "What do you see?" you ask urgently. "I see only what the ball will show me," Grantia replies cryptically. You start to retort, "That's no help," when the swirls in the ball part, revealing a large chamber in a cavern in which you see a figure working at a bench, pounding something with a small hammer. "Father!" you exclaim excitedly. Unblinking, you stare at the tiny seed, relieved to see your father alive. You're watching him so intently that you almost miss the movement at the back of the chamber shown in the crystal ball. "We must stop," says Gretchen quickly, and she starts to pull a black cloth over the ball. "No, wait," you demand, and you reach out to grab the witch's hand, preventing her from covering the ball. "I must see whether he's in chains." "Oh," moans Grantia. "Too late." It's weird that she's like moaning. I feel weird about that. You look into the ball, and your eyes widen at the sight of a huge dragon behind your father. The dragon's deep ruby color seems to glow with a light of its own. But even more brilliant is the gold brilliance of her eyes as they stare straight into you. "It's as though she sees me," she gasps. "Radel has powers beyond imagining," the witch says sadly, pulling the black cloth over the ball. But this time you could do nothing to stop her. "Now Radel has seen you. She knows you're looking for your father, and you will not be able to move in secrecy. It will be very difficult for you to reach him." Oh, there's the old lady. There's a dragon. There's me looking at the dragon. Chandel. She's got her long nails. Detected the scry. She did. Detected the scry. And get him safely away. Then she adds, as if to betray herself, and now she knows I've been watching her. For a moment, your own fear is overcome by your concern for the witch. Will the dragon harm you? Well, no. I will be gone from here very quickly, and so you must too. Take your friends and go at once. Take the path into the woods. Now go! As you heed her urging, you thrust a silver coin in her hand, turn, and run through the doorway. Something went wrong, you explain to Torbeck and Jancy as you mount Doddle. She says the dragon knows I saw her in the crystal ball. Torbeck's smile of welcome at see you safe changes rapidly into a frown of concern. Thank you, Grantia, you call to the witch who stands in the doorway. I'm sorry if I endangered you, and you wave your goodbye. You kind of really fucked it up there, kid. What did she say? Asked Torbeck. Once the dragon saw us, she didn't have time to say much, but she did say to take the path into the woods. That's not much help, he exclaims. If Grantia bothered to say it at all, she meant to be helpful, says Jancy. I think we should go back to the inn and learn the way to the sage's house, says Torbeck. Let's take the path into the woods, says Jancy. I'm sure Grantia said it for a reason. Her name is Gracia, whatever. I can't remember the old lady's name either. Okay. Going to the sage feels backwards to me. Clearly, Grantia, yeah, really? Granny Tia? Grantia? Isn't this just the same exact thing from before? Or wouldn't we just be going back on the other path? This one is like feels like forward. That's the Wolfman from YouTube Shorts? No, it's not. It's the fighter in the Heart Quest book number 1. Realm of the Ruby Ring of the Ruby Dragon. I don't know where you have ever seen another Torbeck before. Probably. It's not too you know, as a fantasy name, I bet you there's been a lot of Torbecks. I bet you this is not the first or the last Torbeck. It seems like a name. Path, yeah, that's what I'm feeling too. I'm gonna do the path. Page 44. I agree, Jancy, you say after thinking a moment. She must know the path will lead us to something helpful. And besides, you add, smiling at the halfling, I think I trust Jancy's judgment of people. However, you add, I'd better be prepared for anything. And you pull the small leather pouch from your pocket. Jewels, Torbeck exclaims as you pour the stones into your hand, and then he gasps as the stones start to drift upward and form a ring around your head. No, they're iron stones, Jancy says excitedly. My grandmother had some. You tell the fighter and the halfling what you remember your father saying about the stones and the wizard who packed the spellstone. It's very powerful, you finish. You don't need me then, says Sir Torbeck. Yes, I do, you say swiftly, suddenly afraid that he might pursue that thought. I don't know what spells are stored in the stones, so I can't depend on them. Well, it's been my experience. Jancy lowers her voice and puts on an imaginary long gray beard. Then it never hurts to have a bit of magic handy. Who's my granny to have? I know they were my dad's ion stones. Well, I guess they were her grandmother also. Yeah, maybe she had some. Maybe they're just around. Maybe they're just floating around. Torbeck looks taken aback, and then explodes with laughter at the halfling. Well, we certainly ought to accept the benefit of your vast experience, madam. Laughing, the three of you ride on into the woods. As you ride, you talk easily together, and soon Torbeck is telling tales of his exploits as a fighter. You are indeed a mighty warrior, I say, smiling, when he finishes a tale of the shimmering mountains. I try to live by my oath as a knight, he says. But you know that he's trying to sound modest, but that he is proud of himself. But that's all right, you think. He's done some very brave things. Iron? Oh, yeah. This is an old type of item. Just then, Dottle stumbles slightly, makes a small leap, and stops. Quieting her, you look down and see that she just avoided falling into a deep, smooth hole in the ground. A small mouse is running round and round inside the hole, trying to get out, but its tiny claws are unable to get a grip on the smooth sides. You hear it chitter in fear. Hold on, mouse, says Torbeck, dismounting quickly. The fighter bends down, scoops the tiny mouse up in his hands, and releases it into the grass. As it runs away free, you hear the fighter say gently, Go home, little mouse. Oh my god, are we doing Save the Cat right now? Like now? We're doing it now? That's what we're doing? Okay. Then she looks up and sees you and Jancy watching him. The soft look on his face changes to one of confusion, and he hurriedly remounts his horse. And he has a very gentle side too, you think, adding to the mental image you're forming of this night. Suddenly you hear a familiar flapping sound above you. The shadows of 4 winged lions pass over you as the sound is joined by that of rushing hooves nearby. Moving off the trail just in time, you stand by the side unnoticed by a troop of centaurs and satyrs charging past you, clearly headed back the way you came. They're headed toward Gracia's house, you say. The dragon must have sent them. She sent them to kidnap my father. We've got to help her, you shout to the others. Torbeck turns to you and says, Don't be silly. There are far too many creatures for us to fight. We've got to try, you exclaim. There's no virtue in jumping into a fight without considering the odds for success, Chandel. We're about to have ads, so I'm going to leave the poll up for 3 minutes. We'll do the poll now. We're going to say, oh, you're just making an intellectual exercise of it, you say angrily. But I'm not. I'm trying to survive so we can go rescue your father. Oh, your anger is replaced by shame. But what about Grancia, Chandel? She's in trouble because she helped you, Jancy remind you. You hang your head, confusion overwhelming you. Oh, what should I do? You ask yourself as you look from Jancy to Torbeck. Both of them watch you expectantly. We're going to leave this one up a little bit longer just because it's about to be an ad break. And I am going to just chill for 3 minutes while you guys answer the question. Actually, I might stretch my legs. So I'll do that. And we're back. And we're back off mute as well. Help old lady. We're gonna go do it. We're gonna go help the old lady then. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your patience. Good timing. Good timing. All right, we're gonna go to page 56. As you try to decide, your mind in turmoil, you hear the sound of a bird shrieking as it passes overhead. It sounds like a woman's cry. I've got to go back and help Grantia, you exclaim in anguish. It's my fault the dragon's after her. She's a witch, Chandel, says Torbeck impatiently. She can take care of herself with her magic. Maybe, but Tordek is the dwarf fighter in 3.5. Yeah, 3. Yeah, you're right. But Torbeck is a different guy. Completely different guy. Maybe, but maybe not. I've got to find out. You kick your heels into Doddle's side and gallop quickly through the forest. The others follow. You halt abruptly behind the trees, screening the witch's small house, and dismount. The sounds coming from the house are horrible, and you're suddenly reluctant to find out what is making them. You watch Torbeck draw his sword. Even Jancy has a little jeweled dagger that she draws out of her boot. Suddenly you feel useless and wonder why you forced the others to come here. Seeing you hesitate, Torbeck leans down and asks, What's wrong, Chandel? I've never used magic before except to protect me, and I don't even know what the spellstone will do. What if it does something awful? What if it doesn't work? But what if it does work, he says gently. Then you'll have helped the witch you came to save. Besides, that wizard who packed the spellstone wouldn't have put in spells that might hurt him. You're right, you agree, and you all step into the clearing around Grantia's house. Centaurs, satyrs, a couple of winged lions, even a werebear or two storm the house, screaming and snarling in fury. Grantia stands visible through the open door, but none of the creatures get near her. When one centaur dashes forward, it seems to hit an invisible barrier. Sparks fly and it retreats, howling. Now you realize that the horrible noise the creatures are making contains as many howls of pain as screams of rage. But the monsters surround the witch, and she's trapped within her own invisible cage. I'll get them away from her, says Torbeck, dashing forward with his sword ready. He heads toward the nearest centaur, which turns the sound and attacks the fighter with a heavy oaken club. Torbeck, you shout. Then, knowing you can't really do anything, help him less with the magic. You stand still and concentrate your thoughts on the purple stone and the ring of stones circling your head. Your mind closes out the sounds of the creatures, and as you concentrate on the world of power within you, the purple stone starts to vibrate and glow. From somewhere within the word hold enters your mind, and you find yourself repeating the words, Stone of fire, stone of light, hold the creatures, end this fight. You continue to concentrate until you realize that the sounds around you have lessened. When you open your eyes, you see all that the centaurs and satyrs, the part-human creatures, are standing absolutely still, as if frozen in place. The other creatures continue to leap and scream, but without direction from their leaders, they move about aimlessly now. Soon they turn and run away. I love that that's a rules accurate hold person. Right? It's a hold person only. The other monsters weren't so you gotta get the rules right. It's Dungeons and Dragons. It's a whole person only. You hurry to Grantia's side and bump painfully off her invisible shield. Oh, I'm sorry, dear, says the witch. She makes a slight gesture and reaches her hand out to you, her actions no longer hindered by the unseen barrier. That was my glyph of warding. I was just packing to go when I heard Rada's horde coming. I constructed the invisible shield so I could continue packing while it held them back. But then one of the centaurs was clever enough to try to get around behind me, and I had to construct it all around me. There I stood in a cage of my own making, until you came along and stopped those nasty creatures from attacking me. Oh, excuse me a moment. I'll just dispose of those centaurs and satyrs you so kindly put out of action for me. She just goes to the door, mumbles a few words, and then holds her hands flat, with their thumbs touching. Sheets of flame spurt from her fingers, striking the creatures. They stir, turn, and go howling off into the woods. They were all incinerated. By a wall of fire, their flesh burned, and as they screamed in agony, she turned to you and said, "There," with satisfaction. "Now, my dears, what can I do to thank you for coming back to help me?" "No thanks are necessary," you say. "But is there any way you can help me rescue my father?" "Well," the witch thinks a moment, "I could put your horse under a spell, one that would let me into her mind a picture of the way to the dragon's lair. The route is much too complicated to try and describe it to you. The only drawback to the spell is she won't go anywhere but along the route I gave her, so you'll have to go along no matter what else happens." Torbeck and Jancy wait for your decision. You find yourself a little reluctant to leave your destination to a spellbound horse, but you realize you don't have much choice. "All right, please put Doddle under a spell." "Fine, but you'll have to remove the lavender-colored stone from your ring of stones." "Why?" "Because those are stones that absorb spells. They could remove the spell I put on Doddle, and then you might be lost in the woods." You reach up and remove the 2 lavender stones from the ring around your head. The other stones move around until they are evenly spaced again. You put the 2 you've removed back into the leather pouch. Those things are fucking OP. Jeez. Grantia places her head gently on Doddle's nose, makes a few gestures, and murmurs some words to which Doddle seems to listen intently. Then the horse nods, and the witch pats her nose again. "Just follow Doddle's lead, my dears. She's a fine horse, and she'll get you there safely." Remounting, you wave to the witch, and give your horse her lead. Torbeck on his charger, and Jancy on Gooseberry ride side by side with you. As you ride, you have no choices to make. Doddle just walks on, never seeming to hesitate. After about an hour or so, Sir Torbeck stirs restlessly and says, "I've done a lot of things before, but I've never followed a spellbound horse." "There's got to be a first time for everything," Jancy says. "And you must like first times, Torbeck. You've done so many new things." "I do. I don't like to be doing the same thing over and over. That's a dull way to live," the fighter says. "But someone has to do the ordinary things," you protest, turning your head. "Maybe, but it doesn't have to be me. I want to be able to go when the urge comes over me. I want to be able to follow a whim." "I'd like to be like that," you think to yourself as you ride on in silence. Then, you too begin to get uneasy about letting your horse make all the decisions. Each time the path splits or turns, Doddle keeps plodding along as if she had a map in her head. You do nothing. In a little while, Torbeck says, "I can't take this anymore. I feel useless just sitting here following Doddle wherever she goes. How do we know the witch actually gave her the right directions? Grantia might be a friend of the dragons." "No," you exclaim. "Well, I don't like being controlled by an enchanted horse." "Do you want to go now that the urge has come over you?" you ask, mimicking his own words. "No, of course not. But I want to remove the spell. You've got those leftover stones, use them. Grow up, Chandel. Let's get control over our own actions again." "Don't do it, Chandel," Jancy says. "I know Grantia. She's helping us. We'll get to the dragon's lair. Just be patient." I don't like this choice. This choice feels silly to me. We every single time the witch has helped, I don't feel like I'm even gonna listen to Torbeck. Torbeck's a grumpy puss. I'm gonna just keep trusting the magic horse. Screw asking you guys. If this is a dead end, then I'll eat crow, but I don't think so. I envy you and your ability to wield to women the lust of adventure, lure of adventure, Torbeck. But I'm a jeweler, and I've got to function by plans. Maybe it's not so fun, but it's satisfying. Planning and organizing and then doing the actual work to turn raw gold and rough stones into a thing of beauty. So I'll stick with the plan, Torbeck, and let Doddle lead us where the witch has directed her. As you ride on, you hear him grumbling about no spirit in the girl, and you've got to live a little. This guy's tricky, eh? Jancy soon pulls Gooseberry up to Torbeck and tells him some of her own adventures. You smile to yourself as you hear her work very hard to impress him with her free spirit. When the path divides again, Doddle hesitates for the first time. "Do you suppose the witch's spell is wearing off?" you ask, concerned. But then the horse enters the right-hand path and walks on. "Maybe something didn't feel quite right to her," suggests Jancy. "Horses are very sensitive to atmosphere, at least Gooseberry is." Agreeing that she might be right, your attention, too, is suddenly caught by the atmosphere. Something is different on this path. The woods you had been going through was lovely. but quite an ordinary woods. But now it's becoming beautiful. Almost too beautiful. Torbeck, you say? Do you see? The sky is suddenly bluer. And listen to the birds. Have you ever heard them sing so sweetly? Torbeck pulls up beside you, and as the two of you dismount, you can see by his face that he too is feeling the enchantment of the wonderful glade you've entered. A fawn prances across the grass ahead of you, and Torbeck's expression softens even more. Oh, this is the part from the beginning. This is the part from the beginning. This is the romantic part. Guys, this is the romantic part. Willikers, Glass Jancy, have you ever seen the like? Look, flowers everywhere, and rabbits, and ermine. She slides off Gooseberry and runs around the wonderful glade, inspecting all she sees, both plant and animal alike. Somehow this place doesn't feel real, you say, and you shudder slightly. Maybe that's why Dottle hesitated. She sensed something different. Torbeck's arm moves around you. As he says, it's real enough for me, Chandel, just as real and as wonderful as you are. And suddenly you know that he's going to kiss you. Not a quick peck on the forehead or even a brush of the lips. Here, in this beautiful spot, in this enchanted glade, he's going to kiss you. You feel his breath on your face, and your arm starts to move up his shoulder, almost of its own volition. Uh-oh. Are we going to do it? Are we going to do the kissu? This is definitely a poll. Oh, wait, hang on. I set it for 3 minutes. Oh, well, it's still set to 3 minutes. Hang on, I'm going to cancel it. I can't cancel it. You can't be canceled. Okay, we have to wait 3 whole minutes. Oh. You can't cancel it. Everybody's voting no. I'm seeing everybody's voting no. I see one vote for yes. Okay, we have to leave it. It's a whole 3 minutes. I'll send back to 1 minute next time. I think we're saying no. I think I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna wait for 1 minute. I'm gonna just let it go. And we're gonna have 3 minutes next time. Sorry, if you set a poll for 3 minutes, you can't just say never mind, only 1 minute actually. Okay, we're voting no to trap. Alright. We're voting the romantic, unromantic ending. How's your Valentine's Day? Yeah, how's your Valentine's Day going? Well, you're here, so you're obviously having a good time. Right? We're obviously having a good day because you're here with me. Suddenly, you feel that the beautiful glade is too enchanted, that Torbeck is going to kiss you, because his doing so is part of the enchantment. You don't want to kiss under those circumstances. That's right, girl. Don't get coerced. Make choices for yourself. Believe in yourself. Looking for a reason to leave a knight's arms, you quickly reach down for your leather pouch. Oh, are the stones still here? You say, trying to sound concerned as you pull the bag from your pocket. You open the bag, and the 2 lavender stones float out, joining the others in the ring around your head. Instantly, the enchanted glade disappears. Oh, you gasp, and Torbeck looks around, startled at the change. What happened? Wails Jancy, her hands still in midair as if she was petting something. The stones may have broken the spell, you say, and you add sadly, all that beauty must have been a spell. Torbeck smiles and touches your cheek lightly with one finger. Maybe that moment was caused by an enchantment, Chandel, but I don't need to be induced by a magic spell to kiss you. But there will be a real time and a real place. Good, I'll hold you to that, you say quietly. Jancy rejoins you, grumbling. That wasn't very nice of someone, creating all those animals just as a magic spell. Why would someone do that? I don't know, Jancy, you say. It was probably an attempt to keep us from getting to the dragon's lair. You all remount your horses, and it's quickly clear that the spell the witch put on Dottle has ended. Turn to page 15. Maybe it just circles you back to the leaving the path. Uh-oh. This is actually the end of the story? Suddenly, you realize you've been depending on Dottle to take you where you want to go, and you have no idea where you are. You ride for hours until well after nightfall, always hoping that you'll find something familiar. Eventually, weariness makes it difficult to remain in your saddles, and the three of you curl up under your cloak to try to sleep for a few hours. When dawn breaks, you are riding again. As the days pass and you wander aimlessly, Torbeck begins to blame first Jancy for taking you to the witch, and then to you for the witch following the witch's advice. Jancy's exuberance is gone. Finally, to avoid fighting with each other, you each withdraw inside yourselves, rarely speaking to one another. When you at last emerge in the forest, in an area where no one has ever heard of a red dragon, the anxiety of being lost has driven Torbeck, Jancy, and you into your own little shells. You just had a Blair Witch project. Well, that's kind of a lame ending. As you say goodbye to the others, more with relief than sorrow, you hope you can somehow find the ruby dragon's lair and in it your father still alive. That's a bummer. I feel like not kissing him was the right choice to make. But then it just kind of ended. Huh. Okay. So what happens if we what happens if we kiss him? Let's see. Well, actually, what if we maybe not moving the enchantment was wrong? Should we just try the wait, hang on. What happens if you kiss him? That's gotta be a game over, right? It just seems like such a bad choice. But I wanna read the part where you kiss him. No, there is more. There is more. Okay. What is a bad ending if not winding up in Maryland? A terrible ending. Okay, let's make a different decision here. I'm gonna go back to without trying to spoiler myself for everything. This is the kiss part. Do we want to see the now what? Okay, we're gonna make sure to set this to just 1 minute because I don't know. Remove horse magic. Kiss from man? These are two different choices. How far back do we want to go? You didn't romance the DMPC and they lost interest. The DMPC. No, Chandel. The whole point of the story is you're supposed to kiss a boy. I gave you all the clues, Mr. Officer. Kiss the boy. Or go back to the horse path part of the story. Maybe we just do the horse path part of the story. Got a little music, got a little chill music. Yeah, they wanted to. What are we choosing? Oh, nobody's voting? Alright, let's see what happens down this kiss path that I'm sitting in front of right here. Since you guys don't know. You guys don't have an opinion. Let's do the kiss. We'll just see where this takes us. Because there's an illustration. There's a drawing in this one. Is this supposed to be the guy? I imagined him so much more rugged. Like a little, like maybe a little bit more. Didn't they say he was like rugged? This guy looks like a nuts. This can't be the guy. Is this the guy? I don't know about this guy. I don't know about this 80s, 1980s. Oh, that's okay. Oh, get a vase. And older. Yeah, he should be. He's supposed to be 25. I don't know. That's 25. This dude was dark and intense. This is like a little Lord Fauntleroy type fucking dude. Not the guy I was picturing at all. I was picturing a guy with some stubble, you know. The jaw is fine, but he needs some stubble. Maybe a hood. He had a hood, right? And armor. Yeah, this is wrong. Completely wrong. You look up into Torbeck's deep brown eyes and feel your heart swell. Suddenly you think, so what if this is an enchanted place? I want to live this enchanted moment. And you let your hand slide up Torbeck's neck as you raise your face to his. Gently as a butterfly's wing, his lips brush yours and he murmurs, "My enchanting one." And then his lips press against yours with a sure firmness, and for a moment you're aware of nothing but your heart beating with his. Then behind you a horse nickers, and the moment is gone. Reluctantly breaking away from Torbeck, you're startled to see Jancy, her arms cradling a rabbit, walking towards you. You start to blush, but then she says, "Enjoy the enchantment, Chandel," and you just smile and nod in agreement. Torbeck laughs and throws an arm around Jancy, giving her a hug. "You're a woman of wisdom, Jancy," he says. Then he turns to you and says, "This is indeed a place of enchantment, made even more enchanting by the presence of you two. But I think we'd better get out of here, or maybe we won't be able to later. I don't know about you, but I don't relish the idea of being spellbound." Torbeck helps you onto Doddle's back, holding you a little more closely and a little longer than necessary. As you ride, you expect Doddle to settle down, especially as you leave the enchanted glade and enter ordinary forest again. But she seems increasingly restless. When you reach a division in the path, and she hesitates a long time before taking the left-hand trail, you again wonder if the witch's spell is wearing off. When Doddle stops slows, as if she's expected to follow this path, Torbeck suggests, "Maybe this isn't the right path. I don't think I really trust the witch's spell to keep us going in the right direction." Alright, we know by now that page 15 is the end of the game and takes us to a shitty ending. So the moral of what we learned is, you've got to take the moment and kiss the man. Another chance might not happen. Torbeck is wants to romance Jancy. He kind of does, doesn't it? Torbeck's going for that harem ending. Alright, 146. Doddle was restless before, you say. Oh, that's a unicorn, but it's mean. It's a mean unicorn. There's art of a mean unicorn in this. Why is there a mean unicorn? And it turned out to be just her reaction to enchantment. Maybe the same thing is happening now. I want to go on, but be prepared for anything. Torbeck draws his sword and moves ahead of you. As you look at his broad back, you realize that it's very nice to feel protected. Jancy looks fiercely from left to right, her small dagger held out in front of her. Doddle plods on, now and then giving a little play of restlessness. Suddenly, Torbeck's horse, Bilkin, whinnies and stops abruptly. Behind you, you hear Jancy gasp and say, "Look!" There, in the pack ahead of you, is the most beautiful animal you've ever seen, a magnificent, snowy white unicorn. The creature rises high on its hind legs, its single spiral horn reaching into the branches above, and you realize it's going to attack. "Move!" shouts Torbeck, his horse dashing ahead. But you're too late. The unicorn's horns clash toward you, missing your head by inches and frightening Doddle. I'm stuck on something. Wasn't the other guy's horse also named Bilkin? Am I crazy? Were both of the men's horses named the same thing? Or am I just losing track of what's happening in the story? I have to go back and confirm that after I've done following this path to the end. Because it's driving me nuts. And the other guy also have a name. I'm losing my mind. Easy, girl, easy. You try to frantically calm Doddle, aware at each moment the raging unicorn was rising, preparing to strike again. Then, behind you, Jancy says in a determined voice, "I'll get it," and she somersaults through the air onto the back of the white animal. Puzzled to find someone riding it, the unicorn drops its front hoofs to the ground without striking anything. Seeing Torbeck about to lunge at the unicorn with his sword, you shriek, "No, don't hurt it!" Nancy chimes in, "No, Sir Torbeck, I'm getting it under control." And indeed she is. The animal's frightened bucking gradually abates as she leans forward and whispers something in its ear. Finally it stops entirely, stands still, looking at you calmly for the first time. Doddle, too, seems to know she has no longer anything to fear and settles down. "What a girl," said Torbeck, smiling at Jancy. Wait, it does feel like he's trying to romance Jancy. What's going on? Is Torbeck trying to play both sides? What? What is going on? She blushes but looks pleased as he said, "Well, nobody ever asked if a thief could also be an acrobat." Torbeck rides to the halfling's side, grabs her around the waist, and pulls her off the unicorn over to his horse. Come away from that unpredictable creature, little one, he says gently. He never did that to me, you think, a strange combination of anger and self-pity welling up inside you. It's an unpleasant feeling, and you feel your jaw harden as they ride up to Bilkin. Thank you, Jancy. That was very brave. She looks puzzled at the slight coldness in your voice. What's wrong with you, Chandelle? You say angrily to yourself. Then you add, the unicorn seems to be all right now. Let's go. An acrobat. Yeah, Jancy's out here like, I'm really flexible. I don't know if you had that in mind. I'm really flexible. Plus, I'm a halfling. I'll cook you a 4-course meal after it's over. Stud. I almost said slut. Oh, jeez. Riding down the path, you listen to Torbeck and Jancy, now back on her pony Gooseberry, chatter on about the unicorn. But you take no part in the discussion. Only one thought keeps running through your mind. They certainly are getting well together. Torbeck must flirt with every girl he meets. In your mental turmoil, you make Doddle move faster and faster, until you're out of sight of the others. Chandelle, you hear Torbeck's voice call, but you refuse to answer. He can just find me, you think, urging Doddle faster until you're almost galloping down the path. Chandelle, Torbeck calls. What's the matter with you? And you feel a certain satisfaction in hearing his charger galloping after you, even as you recognize that you're being childish. Looking around, you realize you've entered a rocky area, and that Doddle is going dangerously fast. But as you start to rein her in, she stops of her own accord. Bilkin pulls right behind you. What was all that about? Torbett starts to ask angrily, but you notice among the rocks in front of you, there's a large opening and what looks like the beginning of a tunnel. Are we here, girl? Is this Radel's lair? You ask Doddle, patting her neck. The horse nods and paws the ground. Anger forgotten, you turn excitedly to Torbeck. She got us here. The witch was right. The knight shouts, Whoopee! And Whoopee! He doesn't seem like a whoopee kind of guy. Is he a whoopee kind of guy? And pulls you toward him in a big hug. Your anger and jealousy dissolve in the joyous feeling of achievement. And when Jancy rides up behind Torbeck, you feel only gladness as the knight reaches back and includes her in the big hug. This guy's going for the twofer. This guy's going for the double. All right, you say firmly, let's go. We should picket the horses nearby and return for them later, Torbeck suggests. You agree and dismount, looking for a good place to leave the horses. Fortunately, there's a stream and a small clearing carpeted with grass nearby. As you enter the tunnel, your eyes open wide, and you find yourself gasping in surprise at the gold, the gems, the silks and satins used to decorate the passageways and chambers of Radel's lair. This dragon certainly likes finery, you say. I just hope she doesn't consider us a fine dinner, replied Jancy. Then she says, Shh, I think I hear something. You and Torbeck make no sound, trying to listen for whatever sound the halfling's acute hearing caught. It's father, you exclaim, your face lighting up. I'm sure that's him. I've heard the sound of his hammer on gold all my life. You run ahead. Wait, Chandelle, cries Torbeck, urgency in his voice. Reluctantly, you slow your step and turn back. What is it? It might be a trap. Remember, Grangia was sure Radel knew you were coming here. If she's smart, she's not going to let you rescue your father so easily. A trap? You repeat. Jancy, halflings are talented when it comes to finding traps. Can you see anything? Ah, she's gonna search for traps. Thief, you go search for traps. Search for traps. Radel wouldn't use the kind of trap I can detect. I can only find knives on springs, trapdoors, things like that. This is Dungeons and Dragons. Well, we'll have to be as careful as we can, you declare, and more cautiously than before, you turn toward the passageway. Following the sound of tap, 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 you slowly advance down the narrow corridor. You peek around each corner, hoping to spot enemies before they ambush you. But the way remains clear, and you allow yourself to relax enough to appreciate the sweeping draperies of cloth woven with golden threads, the great mounds of brocade and satin cushions, and the flashing chains of gems accenting wall and ceiling alike. Soon you round a corner, and the tap, tap sounds very near. Look, you whisper, There's a bright light in that room ahead. The sound seems to be coming from there. You creep to the doorway, the others following close behind. As you silently peek around the door jamb, you see your father standing at a workbench. "Father!" you shout. Unable to resist the temptation to go to him, you rush into the brightly lit room. A slender man dressed in fine black and red leather is bent over a table. His small hammer is silent as he turns towards you. Delight and some other emotion you can't immediately recognize are mixed on his face. He hesitates briefly and exclaims, "Chandelle!" He lays down his hammer and sweeps you into a big hug. You close your eyes in the security of your father's arms and wait for him to ruffle your hair as he always does. But the familiar gesture doesn't come. "Oh, my daughter, I thought I'd never see you again." Finally, you stand back, still clutching his arm, and say, "Father, these friends have been helping me hunt you." As he reaches out his hand to shake Torbeck's, you notice that your father is not bound in any way. Why didn't he try to escape, you wonder? "Let's hurry and get out of here," you say, suddenly feeling panicky. "Oh, but my things," stammers your father. Then Torbeck says, "What about the dragon?" "Yeah, are we going after her or not? She's got a lot of loot. Let's loot the dungeon. I'm the thief. Loot, loot, loot." You notice a brief look of satisfaction cross your father's face as he says, "I can show you how to find her." You pause a moment, wondering why your relief at finding your father is turned into confusion. Then you realize others are looking at you, as if ask why you don't answer your father's offer. Or is he really your father? Alright, okay. New? Oh, I typed roll instead of pull. That's not how you type pull. I was surprised how much more there was down this path. It felt like the other path just got you immediately to the lair. This one just kind of took you around on it. You have a bigger venturing party, though, in this path. Right? You don't just have one guy. You've got a thief to check for traps. This one feels more like D&D in a way. I'm a little confused by why we had the enchanted glade, but I guess that was just a thing that happened. We just did it because why not have a kiss scene? Kiss this guy you just met. This feels like an adventure, yeah. Yeah, this feels like an adventure, yeah. The other one was like, go directly there, find the dragon, save your dad, leave. This one is like, there's more going on. It's a trap. Okay, it's a trap. We have doubts. We're going to turn to page 84. Like a speed run. Yeah, the other one was a speed run. I'm speed running my path to romance and adventure. Now that your doubts are surfacing, you realize even your father's big hug of welcome didn't feel right. Nor does the fact that you found him so easily. Quickly, before you change your mind again, you ask, "Father, tell me what spells are in the purple stone." "Stone?" He looks puzzled and then angry. "Chandelle, what game is this? I know nothing about spells and stones." You feel yourself go cold. "He's not my father," you shout. Instantly, Torbeck draws his sword and Jancy her dagger. They turn toward the man who called you his daughter. As you watch, the man snarls in rage and his face begins to turn red. "Get him, Torbeck," you shout. The knight begins to swing his sword. Your father... No, the dragon begins to breathe fire, though his body is still that of a human. Oh, the old disguise yourself as your dad trick. Did not, instead of disguising himself as a hot lady, it disguised himself as your dad. You watch in horror as the fire threatens your friends. Then you concentrate on the purple spellstone until it begins to vibrate and give off a strange purple light. You don't know what will happen, but anything is better than watching Torbeck and Jancy be overcome by a dragon. Please turn to page 109. Oh, that's the end. Jeez. Shutting out the terrifying sounds around you, your mind captures one word, transmute, and you feel the essence of the word and the power of the stone become as one. Stone of fire, stone of light, transmute the cave and aid our flight. Opening your eyes, all you see at first is the enraged face of the ruby dragon as she breathes fire and reaches for her friends with her mighty claws. Torbeck's sword looks puny as he tries to lunge at the dragon's body. Jancy is backed into a corner but gamely tries to stab at the dragon's slashing tail with her little knife. Oh god, this is how it ends? This just ends like that? You clear something wet and heavy hits your face. You clear one eye of a glob of mud and look up. Your spell has transmuted the rock of the cave into mud. The last thing you see before the ceiling slides down on top of you is the look of triumph on Torbeck's face as the dragon slips on the mud and slides right into the point of his waiting sword. Did I die? Is that a death? Did I die? Rocks fall, everyone dies? Is how this path ends? I think that's the rocks fall, everyone dies ending. Is there a way to get a better ending from this than that? I feel like that didn't work out. What if I just go back to page 28? Sometimes these stories end very abruptly, and then I ran out of steam and everybody died at the end. You look at the man, you hope it's him who took care of you and loved you, all alone after your mother's death. You've worked so hard to learn his skills and have come to admire his ability to create beauty out of metal and stone. Maybe this isn't my father, you think, but in case it is, I can't appear to doubt him when I've just found him. I'll go along with him now, but be prepared for trouble. Make it double. Oh yes, father, please help us. Radel has caused trouble for years. Maybe we can put a stop to it. A slight smile crosses your father's face as he steps to the door. Follow closely now, he says as he enters the passageway. You and Torbeck step behind him with Jancy in the rear. Walking swiftly, your father passes several chambers and turns a number of corners. At first you try to keep up, but each glimpse you get of another splendid chamber slows your feet. Beside you, you hear Torbeck gasp as you reach the open door of a room piled high with treasure. Open golden caskets are scattered about randomly, their contents scraped carelessly over their edges. Gems of every color and shape form a rainbow pile that reflects the light of the torches into a million sparkles dancing on the ceiling and walls. Torbeck grabs your hand as if feeling a deep need to share these wonders with you. Look, he says, and he points to a curtain of silver spun so fine that it looks like the softest silk. But then your father touches your shoulder and says, a bit impatiently, I thought you were searching for the dragon. And you turn to follow him again. You take only a few steps before another sight causes your feet to slow. On your right is a room of blue, a deep and lustrous blue that makes you feel as if you found where summer nights are born. Still holding Torbeck's large hand, you enter the room in a silence born of awe. As Jancy follows, you hear your father say, This room will do. The sound of the door closing behind you brings you out of your awed reverie. Oh, you entered a different boss fight room. This is a different boss room. Not the red boss room, but the blue boss room. This is like the bonus fight your dad counted. The door, you exclaim, looking around. Where is it? And indeed, when you study the wall through which you have just entered, there's no sign of the door. Magic, Jancy says, her eyes wide. I know we came in that side, and now I can't see even a trace of the hidden door. And I'm a thief! I'm trained to see hidden doors. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. It's Dungeons and Dragons. Where's your father, you ask suddenly. Was that your father, Chandel? Torbeck asks you quietly. You pause a moment and then admit, No, I don't think so. But I didn't want to challenge him. Think of how hurt he would be if he had been my father. Tears rush to your eyes as you add, But will we ever find my real father? The night draws you to him, and you lean your head against his chest, seeking comfort. He smiles down at you and says, We'll find him if he's here in this cavern, Chandel. If he's somewhere else, fucking forget it. Can dragons do that? Appear as someone else? Asked Jancy. This dragon seems to be capable of many things, replies Torbeck. Then he shakes his head and adds, Well, we'd better see about getting out of here. You look, this is a good one. This is a juicy selection of choices. You look around the room again, and this time we see more details. This time you see more details. The lapis lazuli blue stone of the walls contains a trace of gold running through it, forming the shapes of flowers, animals, and stars. You're admiring the work closely when Jancy exclaims, "Doors! 3 of them! I couldn't see them at first because the edges look like part of the gold design." Although you still find no traces of a door on the wall through which you've entered. Your search of other 3 reveals a door on each. Each door is marked by a single gem, a deep blue sapphire, a glowing red ruby, and a splendid teardrop-shaped diamond. Well, we have no idea what lies beyond the doors. We could find the dragon, more treasure, your father, or even a way out. Says Sorbeck, which one shall we go through? This is dumb. This is dumb. I love how dumb this is. This is a gay. Hmm? There's no information. I feel like I'm gonna need the Varia suit to go through the ruby door because that's clearly gonna be the hot room, right? But am I gonna need the gravity suit to go through the sapphire door? Will I be able to open the diamond door without plasma? We've got to go back and find a skull key. Ruby for the not ruby red dragon? Hopefully it's not on fire. I don't know. It says glowing. It says it's glowing. And the splendid teardrop-shaped diamond. Maybe that's the room where you go in and cry. We got 1 vote for red, 1 vote for white. Anybody want to vote for blue or break the tie? Tiebreaker? I have a feeling it's like 2 doors of death and 1 where you want to bookmark this page 30. I think this is 2 whammies. Wait, we're voting for red. We're voting for red. 53, but go back to page 30 in case we instantly die. There's no real way to know. You stare at the ruby door and say, "Red is the dragon's color. Should probably be behind that door." "Yeah, waiting to eat us," adds Jancy. "Maybe that's what we're supposed to think," said Torbeck, drawing his sword. Making up your mind, you head for the door, bearing the glowing ruby. Opening the door cautiously, you see nothing but an empty passage. Torbeck walks beside you down the stone passage. Jancy follows, running to keep up, until suddenly he whispers, "Chandel? Torbeck? What is it?" "Look behind us," the halfling says. You and Torbeck turn to see, walking about 50 feet behind you, a winged lion. Then your attention. Make the streamer make the choice. That's true. Make the streamer make the choice. Your attention is caught by another sound in the distance, a familiar tap of metal on metal. "That's father," you exclaim, and ignoring the presence of the dragon, of the lion, you turn and trot down the passage for the sound of the tapping hammer. So they added a lion for no reason, because the lion didn't do anything. You pass an open room, taking just a moment to glance inside, and there are centaurs and satyrs eyeing you as you pass. You sense them enter the passage and join the lion stalking you from behind. Torbeck keeps turning and checking the rear, moving his sword back and forth as he walks. "I can't handle them all, Chanel," he warns. "I know, but let's get to father." You turn a corner in the passage, and on your right you see an open chamber, where a tall, thin man bends over a workbench, hammering on a golden goblet. "Father!" And this time there's no doubt, as the man turns in his chains and opens his arms to you. "Chandel, my beloved daughter." For the moment you enjoy the old familiar comfort of your parents' arms. Then Torbeck says, "Chandel." There's a dreadful urgency in his voice. This must have been the right choice, because this passage is going on for a hot minute. I think you guys picked correctly with that one. I'm sure the other 2 were just deaths. I don't know, I might go back and see later. You look up and see the doorway completely filled with creatures, their eyes glowing with hate. Your father whispers, "They're the dragon's slaves. Most of them are normally good. Unicorns, winged lions, centaurs. But somehow she keeps them under a magic spell that makes them vicious. They won't let us leave." "Can we break the spell?" Jancy suggests. "My spellstone can't," you reply. Your father glances up at the iron stones around your head, and his face lights up in excitement. "The spellstone won't know, but the lavender stones will. Where are they?" For a moment you don't understand what he means. Then you remember the 2 stones that Grantia the Wish had told you to put away when she placed Dottle under the spell. Quickly, you pull the leather pouch from your pocket, open it, and let the 2 stones drift up to join the ring around your head. Almost instantly, the animals standing in the door begin to relax. The 2 unicorns start to nuzzle each other. The unicorns just immediately start fucking. What the fuck? The centaur look at each other in excitement, turn, and trot back down the corridor. Suddenly, they freeze in place as into the passageway comes Radel, the red dragon. She roars as she sees them, clearly signaling for them to get back to their duties. But the creatures, now freed from her spell, turn on her and start to roar back. The dragon, enraged by this reaction from creatures who have docilely obeyed her for years, spits fire down the passage. Wait a second, this is a plot hole. Because I had the lavender stone around my head when the other animals attacked the old lady. And they did, and I had to use hold person. So why didn't it break the enchantment this time? And why did it break the other time? This is a plot hole. It's a plot hole. In the 1983 Choose Your Own Adventure romance game book. Oh well. I accept it. Hurry, says your father. Free me and we can get out of here while Radel is occupied with her former slaves. Torbeck's mighty sword breaks your father's chains, and you all scurry down the corridor away from the corridor dragon and her angry minions. Jancy dances ahead, singing gaily, "We've done it!" As the sounds of the battle behind you fade away, Torbeck stops you with a hand on your shoulder. Chandel. You turn your face up to him, looking at him squarely. "We've finished the quest for your father," he says, placing his arms around your waist. Your hand slipped behind his neck as he added, "But we haven't finished the quest for ourselves." You smile at him and shake your head no. A thoughtful look crosses the knight's face. "You know I'm a fighter, Chandel. That means I must go where I'm needed, when I'm needed." You interrupt laughing and say, "As well as where you want to go, when you want to go." He laughs and hugs you, saying, "That's true too." As you walk out of the dragon's lair together, you know that somehow the knight will play an important role in your life, in your love, and in your future. The end. Oh no! Oh no, Nacho! I have to add that to quotes. I'm sorry. That's definitely getting added. Oh, that's amazing. No. No. Okay, reset. Oh, outfit this guy made for me. Imagine that coming out of the dude of the picture's mouth. He doesn't really look like a daddy, does he? This guy does not really look like a daddy. Definitely does not look like a daddy. He's too much of a pussy-looking man. All right, guys. I'm officially gonna rate the love interests as wait. What's the other guy? What's the other guy's name? Was it Corbin? It's Corbin, right? Corin. Did I say look the same? No, Corin has the. Wait, he has dark hair? I don't know. Maybe they are the same. Maybe they are the same. They're the same man. Were their horses named the same thing? How do mermaids get involved? Why is there mermaids? This is my official rating of the love interests in this story. Maybe Jancy, can we romance Jancy? I feel like Torbeck's the worst because he tries to. I'm gonna cut Corbin some slack for being mesmerized by the dragon because Corin. Oh, there's only one R in it. I feel like the dragon was pulling some shit and he snapped out of it pretty quickly, right? Like I got jealous for a second, but the first night was I prefer the first guy. I think the first guy was a little bit nicer. Also, I feel like he was younger. I feel like he was more age appropriate. I don't really know how old the protagonist is, though. I kind of just went in assuming she's like 16. But maybe she's like 18. Maybe she's 19. Maybe she's 22 years old. They never really specify. So she could be in her 20s. She could be in her 20s, right? They don't really specify. We're going to assume she's age appropriate. That way we don't have to have an uncomfortable happiness about her marrying one of these guys immediately. Rebecca was just kind of a player. Yeah, Jency seemed nice. I feel like we could be bros. What is this dragon image here? Look at that image. Why is she like like this belly turn is this is really awkwardly drawn. The dragon, the way its leg is like neck is like disconnected from the. I mean, I'm not hating it. It's a little strange. I feel like this is. He looks really pain. Doesn't look comfortable. Doesn't look like a comfortable dragon. How? There and there's sprites. There's a mysterious. There's a lot of stuff in this. I feel like we got the good endings, but there might be some other endings. I think they all end the same way. I think you go and... Yeah, there we go. And the dragon kills her. Oh, there's even a loud guy. There's a loud guy. I can't be the loud guy during my Valentine's ASMR stream. The end. This is the end we got before. I feel like the speed run was the best ending. The speedrun is the best ending, but the other ending had more D&D in it. It is the world's most talked about role-playing game. Has to be one more Path of the Sage? Yeah. Yeah. And these are the ones for boys, by the way. Dungeon of Dread. They had a couple more for boys. Raid on Nightmare Castle. 83. I wonder what happens if you send a letter to the TSR Inc. Is this building still there? Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Dragon Magazine. We didn't have the internet back then. You had to get your update from Dragon Magazine. Did we ever at any point encounter a ring? Ah, see, it gives you a little... Corin, a beguiling young knight hoping to prove himself on his first quest. And then there is Sir Torbeck, the older, more experienced fighter with reasons of his own for joining you. Each one offers to help you, but each has his own way of reacting to your special magic. All right, folks. Before the ads hit again, I am going to bid you farewell because I feel like that was a nice, satisfying conclusion. We got 2 romantic endings. I hope you all have a fantastic Valentine's Day. I have to do my Final Fantasy. I'm gonna finally get back in and get the new outfit and do a little Star Rail tomorrow. Star Rail might be back on the menu. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I may eventually revisit. I'm glad I finally got to read a Heart Quest to you guys. Heart Quest is one of those weird, strange, hidden gem things. Very odd thing to exist in the world. Not a lot of people know about it. And it's always a pleasure to share this weird knowledge with folks. So thank you for participating and helping out with the polls. And I hope you have a great rest of your Valentines. You will be returning to stream. Looks like Monday. Okay. All right. Who are we returning to stream? Big Fights Palace. Yeah, I've been talking about them for a while now. It's pretty cool to see what's actually in it. And there's a real coziness to the, like you said, it's cozy to see like a scanned book. An actual scanned book. Ooh. We got some folks live. Like, I'm gonna raid Owen. Owen's got an incredible looking a lot of good folks are live today. I'm gonna raid Owen. Owen's got an incredible looking cat pillow. It was fantastic. Good gimmick going on today. So we'll point our raid in that direction. Folks, we'll see you on Tuesday for horse games. This is a week of horse games because it is Lunar New Year, so we're hitting all the holidays, as many as we can. Happy Valentine's.